Hello everyone and welcome to our first ever Info Day TV. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which the University of Sydney stands and the place where we're broadcasting from today, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. I'd also like to extend that acknowledgement to those First Nations people here with us today and those tuning in at home. My name is Dasha and I'll be your host for today. Over the next 4 hours, we've got a jam-packed program filled with exclusive interviews and appearances from so many different areas of the university. Before we begin, I have a very important message. The University of Sydney is a COVID-safe campus, so if you're feeling unwell or experiencing symptoms, or if you reside in or have recently visited any COVID cluster location, please follow New South Wales Health advice and stay home. You can find more information about the university online, so please visit infoday.sydney.edu.au. Now, before we dive in, I wanted to mention that we have a Q&A function down below where you can put all of your questions and a member of staff will get back to you. Or if you're like me and you want to speak to someone over the phone, you can also call 1-800-SID-UNI, which is 1-800-793-864. Before we dive into today's program, I wanted to give you a few fun facts about the University of Sydney, its history and its current offering. So first of all, we've got over 36,000 students from across Australia and around the world. We're also the oldest university in Australia and we're ranked first in Australia for graduate employability and first for sustainability. We have over 100 different majors and minors to combine, and we have over 200 societies that you can join to make lifelong friends, find new hobbies, and be part of a community. Now, for a bit more about me, I'm currently in my 4th year of a combined commerce and law degree at the University of Sydney. I live in Sydney, but luckily enough for me, I was given the incredible opportunity to study in France for 6 months in 2019, which was one of the most immersive, rewarding and educational experiences that I've had the opportunity to pursue at the University of Sydney. But don't get me wrong, Sydney is an amazing city and the university is in the best location, so close to the city and so easily accessible by public transport. Now, thinking back to when I was in your shoes on this exact day 4 years ago, I know I was still choosing between a couple of different options. So if that's your case and you're in the same boat as me, I really hope that today's information makes that choice a little bit easier for you. We've got some incredible guests coming up, and once again I remind you that we've got a Q&A function down below where you can get all of your questions answered. Now, let's get this show on the road.
Hello, my name is Craig Madden. I'm a proud Bundjalung Gadigal man from the Eora Nation. I'm here at Sydney University on Gadigal land. Jinyura Gadigal, this land is Gadigal. It's customary for Aboriginal people to invite guests or visitors onto our land or country. It's a custom that we've been doing for thousands of years. I'd like to pay my respects to our elders, past, present and emerging, to any visitors from any other nations or countries, to all our non-Aboriginal brothers and sisters, a warm and sincere welcome to Gadigal land, Aboriginal land. The Gadigal clan is one of 29 clans which make up the Eora Nation. It's a nation that's bound by 3 distinct landmarks. So we have the Hawkesbury River to the north, the Nepean River to the west, and the Georges River to the south. Within the confines of those mighty rivers lie the Eora Nation, and the land of the Gadigal people that we stand on are one of the 29 clans of that nation. So on behalf of our Gadigal mob, I'd like to say welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome to the University of Sydney. I'm standing on Gadigal country, where the Gadi people have lived, have loved, and have educated and exchanged knowledge with others across this great nation of ours for tens of thousands of years. The University of Sydney's campuses and facilities are on the ancestral lands of peoples who have loved and known and nourished this land since the very beginning of time. For thousands of generations, they've shared knowledge, they've exchanged learning and understood how it is to be here in this wonderful place that today we call Australia. If you have a look around the campus, you'll see some remarkable places. Some of those places are buildings like our quadrangle. But that quadrangle tells a different story. Many people look at it and see it as the height of European endeavour. Well, that quadrangle, that building that hosts the Great Hall, was built out of sandstone that was quarried on Gadigal and Wongal country, with timber felled from Bundjalung country to the north and mortar that was made from lime and shells that was found on site of this place. Our place is full of stories, woven together and revealing the many, many, many histories of Australia's first peoples. All of our facilities sit on the ancestral lands of Aboriginal people. There is not a part of Australia that is not known, loved and nourished by Aboriginal people of this land since time began. The university stands on Durrock land in Camden, Wongal country in Lidcombe, Gamilaroi country in Narrabri, Wiradjuri country in Dubbo, and all the way to Bundjalung country in Lismore and Gagadu country in Kakadu. Our staff, students, alumni continue the tradition of teaching and learning upon these lands proudly. As a community, we come together as one Sydney, but many peoples.
Nunuinganda Maganiana.
Yamagara.
Yama.
Jingiwala.
Warramai.
Yadama.
Welcome. Welcome to the University of Sydney.
Now, to kick off Info Day TV, we have an awesome video to show you what your first year at the Faculty of Science would look like.
Hi everyone, my name is Stephen George Williams. I'm an education-focused lecturer in the School of Chemistry. So naturally, what I teach is chemistry, but I have a particular focus on chemistry education.
My name's Dr. Osu Lilia. I am the Director of First Year Studies in the School of Life and Environmental Sciences.
I'm Helen Johnston. I'm a lecturer in the School of Physics. I'm also Director of First Year Physics, so if you come to Sydney University, you'll be seeing a lot of me in your first year.
We're going to study a huge amount of fundamentals that will take us on into those higher years. Chemistry is often referred to as the central or essential science, and it's done so on purpose. We will look into a lot of the fundamentals of how molecules react, the kind of shapes that they take and why they take those shapes. We'll be particularly interested in batteries and energy storage alongside electrochemistry. We'll talk quite a bit towards kinetics and thermodynamics, which is the rates of how fast things react and the heat that they give off when they do, going so far as to talk about explosives, one of everybody's favourite topic, quite frankly. Naturally, we'll also talk towards climate change and the effects and ways in which we can try to mitigate that as we go into the future. There's lastly connections to biological materials, to drugs, to polymers, to enzymes. So as I said, chemistry is quite broad, and it's part of how it comes across in first year as we lay those foundations for later year learning.
Human biology students, which is the semester 1 unit of study, will explore their own bodies for a start. So they'll learn more about themselves and also, anatomy and physiology in general. Life and evolution students, which is mainly for students who have a broad interest in life sciences, so students who want to go into marine biology, plant sciences, ecology, they will explore the world around them. So they will dig into soil, literally dig into soil and look at the life that's in the soil, look at the oceans, things like that. So yes, it's a lot of exploration. From molecules to ecosystems, the human biology students and the life and evolution students come together. So it's a large unit of study. And they will start systematically from the very small scale, molecules, look at proteins, cell biology, plant sciences, microbiology, and then end with a really large scale, which is ecology, the environment around us. There's a lot of exploration.
First year of physics, we try and cover a broad range of topics that give you a foundation for other studies. And so you'll learn everything from mechanics, how things move, up to electromagnetism, which is the study of both electricity and magnetism, and up to and including more interesting subjects like quantum physics and nuclear physics. So we will cover a broad range of different subjects, a little bit of each, that gives you an idea of the sort of paths you can take in your physics studies in the future.
So a student will get the fundamentals of life and evolution, human biology, molecules to ecosystems, and that opens up the door to many specialized areas from medical science, marine biology, botany, agriculture, ecology, animal physiology, vet science. So it is the doorway to all of those specialized areas.
You should choose it because of how much it helps you prepare for all of science. It really does work well, even on its own, but in tandem with other subjects. A lot of what chemistry goes on to study and try and impact in the world is connected to other sciences. Chemistry works best as an interdisciplinary study. It can, as I've mentioned, go into biological systems, looking at drug design, trying to find out the best ways that we can impact health over the globe. Chemistry has huge implications for food, agriculture, and dealing with the climate change threat. Chemistry is also connected to energy materials, solid states, the ability to get hydrogen storage to work correctly so that we can utilize that rather than petrol in our cars. It's really quite dramatic how much chemistry is connected to other sciences. And so having a grasp of it is a huge outcome for anybody interested in any sort of scientific pathway.
Physics is one of the foundation sciences. It really does underpin all of the other sciences. And so there are many reasons for studying physics: to understand the universe, both at the extremely large scale, like studying astrophysics, or at the extremely small scale, studying quantum physics. So if you have a curiosity about the way that the universe works, if you'd just like to know, how things are put together, that's what we do in physics. We try and find simple laws that explain the behavior of things. And so if that's the sort of thing that appeals to you, then you should study physics.
The University of Sydney is historic, and it is so for a reason. When you come to our campuses, it is beautiful, and the buildings are, of course, incredible. Sandstone, wonderful structures. But that's just the facade. Actually coming in and learning at the University of Sydney is just getting better and better every year. The university has done a significant amount of work, particularly bringing in, if I do say so myself, education-focused staff who are interested in the student experience. It's not to say that those who were here before us didn't. It's more just to point out that it's becoming more and more of a focus. We are constantly improving the student experience, constantly with an eye towards how we can teach and the ways in which we teach. That comes across when you come and learn from us with the sheer number of incredible teachers that are here. There is a large amount of dedication towards that experience and to making sure you have the best possible experience over your years. That's the teaching side. Of course, there is the research side as well. There are several Centre of Excellences within the School of Chemistry alone. If you're wondering what a Centre of Excellence is, it's basically a fancy research hub. There are great, huge projects that you can contribute to or learn about and get really involved in. Of course, I'm speaking towards the School of Chemistry at the moment, but that's true over the Faculty of Science and over the University of Sydney. The research here is truly world-class, and it's useful and it is worthwhile trying to become a part of that environment.
Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Caleb Owens and I'm the first year director of psychology at the University of Sydney. In your first year of psychology, we have 2 units, Psych 1001 and Psych 1002. You can do them in any order. Psych 1002 is more geared towards health sciences people, which is why a lot of Bachelor of Health Sciences students do Psych 1002. It has topics like neuroscience, learning and motivation, perception, mental abilities, cognitive processes, and abnormal psychology. If you want to do a major or a minor in psychology, though, or do anything further in second year in psychology, you should really do Psych 1001 as well, though. And Psych 1001 has topics like the history of psychology, research methods, forensic psychology, social psychology, personality, and developmental psychology. So in first year, you basically get a bit of everything in psychology. You learn what psychology is, how it's not psychiatry. You learn how the little bit about psychology you know about, which is probably just called abnormal psychology, which I already mentioned is part of 1002. So there's so much more to psychology in exploring what makes us human, what makes us different from animals, how we think, how we react, how we form emotions. It's a really, really interesting first year. Why should you study psychology? Well, just for your curiosity, you could just take 1 or 2 of the first year units in psychology, just as electives to see if you like it. You might be interested in a minor, again, just to satisfy your curiosity and give you some variety in your degree. If you take a major in psychology, it might be because you're interested in a career in marketing, advertising, human resources, correctional services, journalism, something like that a major in psychology will support you in. It may also be useful to you if you have another major in neuroscience or some other aspect of science that you want psychology to support, behavioral science, biology, something like that. Just be aware that in psychology, if you want to become a registered psychologist, a major in psychology is not actually enough. You need to complete a program in psychology. And it's important to explain that what I've just explained, the first 2 first year units, the minor, the major, and the program, they all build on one another. So you can change your mind as you go. The program, for example, is only 2 more units in addition to the major. You don't have to repeat anything. You simply do more psychology, turn your minor into a major, turn your major into a program. As you become more invested in psychology, as you become more interested in it, as you will. Why should you study psychology at the University of Sydney? Well, psychology courses around Australia are accredited, so the content is much the same around Australia. However, if you study psychology at the University of Sydney, you get to study so many other amazing units of study. You get the most amazing campus in Australia, the most amazing on-campus experience, and you get some of the best psychology teachers in the country. And our department is attached to some of the best psychology researchers in Australia.
Now I have the pleasure of welcoming our first guest, Aishi, who's from the Faculty of Science. Thanks, Aishi, for joining me. I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions about your experience studying science at the University of Sydney. So maybe we can start off with a bit about yourself, what you're studying and what your current majors are.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm a student of medical science. I took a Bachelor of Medical Science and I majored in biochemistry, which is fundamentally the study of different molecules within our body. And I specialized in proteins, enzymes and receptors, so kind of like cellular processes. Currently, I'm doing an honours degree, or like a appended 1 year of research at the end of my degree. And during my honours year, I've had the pleasure of running a clinical trial, which is where we get to test different interventions in humans. And I've been looking at a particular plant compound that's shown, I guess, a lot of research interest as an anti-inflammatory agent, meaning that it sort of reduces the stress within the body. And we're looking to see if we can use this compound to help people exercise. So, I mean, of course, in the current context of the global health epidemic, we're hoping to get people out active and yeah, hopefully feeling great about themselves. So it's been an amazing sort of journey, ending up where I am. It sort of combines all of my interests together and it's been a wild ride. So that's, yeah, a short little bout about myself.
It sounds like you're very interested in the research aspect. So are you thinking of doing more research afterwards, or what does your pathway look like after you finish this honours and after you finish your whole science degree at Sydney?
So yeah, you're right. I've been loving it and I am hoping to continue it. So going down the path of postgraduate research, which is sort of a PhD or a doctorate in science. And the uni is just amazing. Sydney Uni has got so many incredible science researchers. I mean, I can't speak for other faculties, but where I am is they're really on the cutting edge of research. So definitely want to keep going at USyd at Sydney and continuing my path.
Cool. Yeah. Well, just for our viewers at home who are currently in high school and kind of looking whether they want to come to Sydney, maybe to study science, would you be able to give them an idea of what their first year at the University of Sydney in science might look like, or what that was like for you?
Yeah, I'll take the second question first as a sort of disclaimer. So I came into uni with no science background. I mean, I did the fundamental things that everybody's got to do until year 10, but in my final years I didn't take any physics, chem or bio. So I sort of came into my degree not really knowing anything. I was really sort of worried, felt that I would be behind and that I wouldn't succeed in my first years. But I will say that the transition was quite smooth. And so what students can expect, regardless of if they're coming from a science background or a non-science background, is that you'll be sort of welcomed into university quite gently, I should say, but at the same time it's good to sort of prepare to work hard. So what my first year looked like was I had 5 subjects in the first semester. 2 were math subjects and then 3 were sciences. So we took chemistry, biology and either physics or psychology. And depending on your sort of level, you can choose to start with fundamentals, which is what I opted for. But if you do have a science background, then you can go on to a normal level entry or an advanced entry. So there's like a lot of choice for students, regardless of their background. Yeah, and it's a fun year. Lots of sort of multiple choice exams, which are very helpful. But you get to learn a lot and sort of prepare yourself for second year. So it sets the foundations, and then in second year you can take your interest to another level, and instead of just learning about the fundamental sciences, you can sort of work your way towards more specialised fields. So,
well, it sounds like that lack of science background really hasn't made any difference, given you've ended up doing so much research now and you're thinking of doing even more research.
Yeah.
So
it was a
feels
turnaround.
Like the uni has really guided you in that respect. And just for any students at home, coming up to kind of our final question, some students might be struggling to decide whether to study science, or they might want to study science but not sure what area to choose, especially for students who maybe haven't done as much science at high school. What kind of advice would you give students at home thinking about science in choosing a major or a particular area of science to pursue?
So my advice would be, don't worry about it now. Like, there's no need to stress. When you enroll for a course, you'll be asked for a major, but that major doesn't really count till sort of second and third year. So I know when I first sort of enrolled into my course, I chose neuroscience as my major because that was like the only thing I knew. And then throughout the year, I sort of got a taste of different disciplines within science and was able to finally formulate my choice, which was biochemistry. So the biggest piece of advice I'd say is don't worry and take your time in that first year. And even in the second year, there's a lot of room to get a feeling for different majors and different subject areas. Try all of them. I mean, you never know. Like, I had no idea biochemistry was something I'd enjoy. I actually found it really difficult until I sort of said, you've got to do well in this subject, you've got to pass it. And then once I got myself into it, I found I enjoyed it. So yeah, there's no stress. Feel free to take your time and it'll work out.
Well, thank you so much. I think that would have been so helpful for all of the students at home. Such a relief to hear that they have nothing to worry about at this stage. If you want to do science, just take Aishi's advice. We're so grateful to have had you join us today for all of that insight. And we hope that you found it helpful at home too. But stay tuned for our next segment coming after this. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We're just going to be crossing over now to the new Chak Wing Museum, where we have Merla and Adele, who are going to give us a little bit of a tour of the new exhibition. Hi Merla.
Hi Dasha, and hello to everyone tuning in at Info Day TV. My name is Merla and I'm a current student here at the University of Sydney. I'm in my 5th year of a Bachelor of International Global Studies and Bachelor of Laws. We're down here at the brand new Chak Wing Museum of Art, Science and Ancient Cultures, which just opened a couple of weeks ago. I'd really recommend everybody come down and check it out. Entry to the exhibition is actually free at the moment, so let's go check them out now. We're down on level 2 on our way to the Mummy Room. There are currently 2 exhibitions in the Egyptian galleries, and together they form the largest collection of Egyptian antiquities in Australia. The Mummy Room contains 4 mummies and coffins of individuals who lived in ancient Egypt between 1200 BC and 100 AD, which is actually a pretty long time span. The university uses CT technology to respectfully look at these individuals in their daily lives, including health, nutrition, and diet. Let's go find Adele now. Hey Adele, what are you looking at?
Hey Merla, I'm here at the Lego Pompeii display, which has recently moved over from the Nicholson Museum and is one of the largest historical models ever built. There's a couple of different sections, including one from 79 AD, which was before Mount Vesuvius erupted, and one as Pompeii stands today. There's over 190,000 bricks there, and it took 500 hours to complete. There's also a couple of different Easter eggs, including Mozart, who visited when he was 13, a Pink Floyd concert from 1979, and even Doctor Who. So you'll have to come and find them when you check it out yourself.
Oh, wow, that's so cool. Do you know how many exhibitions are on at the museum at the moment?
Yeah, there's 18 ongoing exhibitions at the moment. I think my favourite is upstairs, which is the Indigenous art, which includes 350 works from northeastern Arnhem Land. What's yours?
Oh, wow. I think I'd have to say my favourite is just around the corner, and it's the use of butterfly specimens to illustrate Homer's Iliad. I think the museum has been really clever in how they combine history and science.
Yeah, that's really cool. Remember, you can come to Chak Wing Museum yourself, and entry is free, but you'll have to book a timed entry ticket. That's all from us here. Back to you, Info Day TV.
How great does it look in there, guys? Thank you so much to Merla and Adele. But now I have the pleasure of welcoming Professor Ian Young, the Dean of Science. Hi, Ian. Thank you so much for joining me on this couch. I have a couple of questions for you today. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you studied when you were at university?
Sure. Well, you probably can tell by my accent I'm Scottish. And I studied at the University of Aberdeen, did a degree in applied chemistry, Bachelor of Science.
Nice. And how would you describe the field of science and why it's such an important area of study?
Well, you know, there's no more exciting field to be in just now, is there, than science? Look at all the problems we've got in the world. Climate change, coronavirus, you can name about 10 others that are really existential problems for the world today. And the solutions of all of those will be by scientists. And you guys out there, I call pre-scientists, you're ready to take up the challenge and to actually find out what the best way is to make sure the world is a sustainable planet for the future. And the only way to do that, I believe, is to understand science, the foundations of science, physics, chemistry, biology. But the key thing in all of this when you come to university is to have fun. And I think Sydney University is one of the best places in the world where you can do the serious stuff but still have serious fun.
That's really good advice. Thank you, Ian. And what does the University of Sydney offer that's kind of special, or what are the advantages of coming specifically to Sydney to study science?
Look, this place is a remarkable institution in the history of Australia, the first university in Australia. It has now some of the best people on the planet to look at all these problems that I mentioned previously, and fortunately now some of the best buildings and facilities. When you combine all that together, you know, in other universities they read the books that our staff write. That's the big difference. We have the leading researchers, the leading academics, and the leading teachers. Combined all that into some of the best facilities now, lab facilities, field facilities, farms. You've really got it all at Sydney University.
And some of the students at home, they're in high school at the moment, they might be wondering what kind of careers they might be able to get out of a science degree at the University of Sydney. Would you be able to tell us about some of those graduate opportunities, or how the students' skills that they develop in a science degree might be able to help them get a job later?
Look, the real fundamental thing you should think about is problem solving. There are no limits to the jobs that a scientist can get. Really any type of job, because the way we train them is to solve problems. The way we train them is to work in teams to solve those problems. And again, with the best facilities and the best academics, really the world is your oyster when it comes to a career. You can go into finance through the data analysis that you've been doing. You can go into the laboratory. You can go out into the world and just basically do anything that you want to do. Science is a disruptor. Science is the most exciting field in the world. And why on earth wouldn't you want to come and join us?
Awesome. And for those high school students who are kind of tossing up between science and something else, what kind of advice would you give them in figuring out what's right for them, and maybe even afterwards figuring out what specific area of science they might be interested in?
The great thing about Sydney is you don't have to decide right away. You can come here and you can do Japanese, Chinese and science. You can do law and science. You can do almost any combination you want now in a science degree. That's the most exciting thing. You can pick and choose, but at the same time you can be trained by the best people. The other great thing is we really encourage our students to go out into industry. We really encourage them to travel the world, and we resource that as well at Sydney University. So my advice is, don't choose just now. The only choice you have is Sydney University.
Very good advice. And just as a final parting question, are there any words of advice or reassurance that you might have for students as this is their last day to lock in preferences? Maybe if they're looking at science or the University of Sydney, just any kind of parting words to wish them well?
Look, take a deep breath. It's a crazy time just now. We all know that. I don't need to go into the details. But a key thing is, when you come to any university, make sure you use your degree. Don't let your degree use you. You will have all the options you need when you come to do science at Sydney. And I really look forward to welcoming you here.
Thank you so much, Ian. That was really amazing insight, and I hope that you enjoy your holidays, and we'll see you after the break. But right now, I'm going to be welcoming you to a different faculty, the Business School. We'll be diving into the cool waters to hear from Dr. Angela Hachimovic, a business lecturer, and James Walker, a current commerce student. That'll be followed by a live Q&A where we'll learn more about the flexibility of studying business here at Sydney and the internships and practical real-world experiences that you might get with Vince Lamb, who's one of our current Bachelor of Commerce and Advanced Studies students, and our Bachelor of Commerce Deputy Program Director, Dr. Mark Westcott. So stay tuned.
James, it's great to see you again.
Yes, Angela, it's really good to be here.
Now tell me a little bit about why did you decide to study commerce here at Sydney University?
Well, I'd kind of always been interested in finance, and that was where I wanted to go with my career. Looking towards investment banking or asset management as some of the possible career options. And after a bit of research and talking to some of my older friends who were already at university, I found that USyd would kind of provide me the best combination of social, academic, and kind of industry opportunities. Weighed up all my options with university and thought that USyd would be the best option for me.
Fabulous. Yeah, I came to USyd as an undergraduate back in the 80s and absolutely loved it. Wow. But I never thought I'd come back here and teach. So here I am. So it's been an absolute wonderful journey. Do you want to ask me something?
Yeah, well, I'd like to know who should study commerce.
Well, I think any student who's interested in business, is interested in understanding how companies operate, is interested perhaps in understanding a little bit about investment banking or wanting to go into a commercial firm such as Qantas or wanting to go into Westpac. And don't forget, studying a commerce degree, the opportunities are so broad. You could actually be a HR manager or an operational manager, logistics manager. There's all sorts of roles, I think, available to students if they study a commerce degree.
So what is the difference between the Bachelor of Commerce and the Bachelor of Commerce Advanced Studies here at USyd?
Okay, so the Bachelor of Commerce is a 3-year degree in which you're required to do one major and you can choose to do another major or a minor. So a major is just a specialisation. So some of the specialisations we might have, for example, are the banking degree, business analytics, but you can also choose your minor from another faculty, if you like, from the arts and social sciences. So it's a 3-year degree. It's a great degree, but the Bachelor of Commerce and Bachelor of Advanced Studies is a 4-year degree where you'll walk out with 2 degrees. So you walk out with a Bachelor of Commerce and you walk out with a Bachelor of Advanced Studies. 4-year degree. In that 4th year, you have the option to undertake an honours year, which is a research project year, or you can undertake advanced coursework. So I think for students, it's absolutely fantastic because it's quite flexible. You don't have to choose to do a Bachelor of Advanced Studies until your 3rd year in your Bachelor of Commerce degree.
And I really like how it's something you can tack on at the end if you're feeling like you want to stay at uni a little bit longer, or you want to delve into some certain subjects a little bit deeper or do some research, some honours. Yeah. I think it's really great, that flexibility.
Yeah. So, I think it's a wonderful option for students to give you an edge when you're actually going out for employment opportunities. What have been the best aspects for you, James, studying the Bachelor of Commerce degree?
Well, I got to say, since I came to USyd, my life has totally changed in a lot of different ways. I've in the Bachelor of Commerce specifically, I found that I've just understood or learned a lot more about how different things in the world are working. I've also kind of expanded my social circle like tenfold. That's been one of the awesome things that I've really enjoyed about USyd.
I think you're up for the next question.
Yes. I was
Google me, James. Google me.
I'd like to Google, can you do a major and what are the options?
Yes, so in the business school we have over 11 majors. So for example, I teach on the major which is accounting major. So I teach auditing, which is in the accounting major. We actually have finance majors available to students like yourself who are interested in investment banking. We also have probably one of the most popular majors at the moment, and that is the data analytics major, as well as the banking major, which will enable students to go straight into the banking sector and have those skills. Of course, we've got the traditional business law major, business information systems, marketing, of course, which is very popular, human resources and work and organisational studies. So there's a number of majors that you can choose from in the business school. And you can either complement that major with a major like you have from the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, doing an economics minor or major, or you can choose another major within the business school.
What are the entry requirements?
Okay, the entry requirements for the Bachelor of Commerce and the Bachelor of Advanced Studies are exactly the same. It's an ATAR of about 95, which I know is high, but we want the best students. And you also have to do maths to be eligible.
Mathematics.
But maths, I think, is important, especially if you're going to be doing some of the majors like data analytics and business information systems, accounting and finance. I think it's really good. If you're going to do a Bachelor of Commerce and you want to enrol in the DL scholarship program, which is another opportunity for students, you need an ATAR of 98.
The DL scholars come from all across the university and all the faculties, anyone that got over 98. So basically we have the opportunity to do these subjects with people that we wouldn't usually do. So like in my accounting courses, everyone that's doing accounting, it's all the same faces. Whereas when you do these DL projects and subjects, you get the opportunity to meet engineers and medicine students and law students and art students and really collaborate and come together and learn.
You
how to
might
work
actually
with
see
different
me, James, because I'm one of the DL mentors.
Oh.
So I'm one of the academic mentors, and at the moment I have a student from science, one from engineering and two from the business school.
Right.
And in your second year as a DL scholar, you'll be mentored by someone from industry.
Oh, wow.
So I think that's a pretty good selling point as well.
That's great.
So it's a great opportunity to go through with the same cohort. Tell me, James, let's get to the exciting bit. What social opportunities have you had here at Sydney University?
Oh, well, social opportunities. It's been crazy from the first kind of O week, things that I went to last year. I actually met my girlfriend at O week at one of the lunches that they put on. I went on business camp, which was great, at the Sydney University Business Society runs. Just basically just a weekend away with all the business school students, and it gives you an opportunity to kind of bond and meet people because everyone comes from a different place. Other than that, it's been kind of just however much you put in, you get out.
Yeah,
I find.
I agree.
At lectures, it's very easy to just sit in the corner and just, do your own thing, take your notes and then leave. But I found the best part is when you kind of sit beside just people you've never seen before, chat to them, see what comes out of it.
Get out of your comfort zone, I say.
The main thing that I'd say to anyone that's coming into uni next year, or especially at USyd, because there is so much breadth and so much opportunity and so many, different social groups you can get involved in, I'd say just take as much as you can to start and then narrow down from there so that you can pick what you really enjoy, as opposed to saying, I don't want to do too much, and then limiting yourself and missing some opportunities that you might have really loved. Are there any exchange opportunities?
Oh, are there any exchange opportunities? Yes, there are. There are a lot of programs within the business school that students can choose to do, but you need to, again, plan for it.
Yes.
So you've got a number of programs such as the Industry Placement Program. We've got a local program and we've got an international program. So you can go to the US, you can go to LA, San Francisco, or you can go to Singapore or China and immerse yourself in a short placement program with a host organisation. So you have an opportunity of applying your theory to practice, which I think is really cool. And you get an idea of, do you really want to get into that type of organisation? You get a taste.
I had the opportunity, as a Bachelor of Commerce student, you also have the opportunity to engage in some of the exchange that is provided by the United States Study Centre. So I could do that. I was eligible under the Bachelor of Commerce, and they said, there was opportunities to go to LA or to Washington, D.C. And I actually was able to go to Washington, D.C. and intern in the Senate over there.
Do you know anyone who lives on campus?
I do. I myself was able to live on campus this year. It's been my first...
At one of the colleges?
At one of the residential colleges. And I've loved it. It's been it's really added an extra dimension to my time at university. And I think another great thing about the colleges is they give you extra academic support if you need it. That's been great for me. I feel like I've had the opportunity to get a little bit of extra tutoring when I need
Yeah.
it for different
Yeah.
subjects. But yeah, you kind of get that support no matter where you are, whether you're at college, whether you're not at college, you get that support you need.
A lot of my good students teach on the PASS program,
Yes.
and they absolutely are fabulous at disseminating their knowledge and experience to students that are struggling.
Yeah.
I think that's what's wonderful about Sydney University for me, that the learning doesn't happen just from teacher to student.
Mm.
It's between the students
Yeah.
and the teachers, vice versa. So
Yeah.
it's
No,
a community
very
of learning,
yeah,
I think,
collaborative
which
as
is
well.
which is quite good. Yeah. What do you
Being-
love most about living in Sydney?
I loved it. I mean, I think the best thing about living on campus, living in Sydney, living so close to the university is just meeting everyone else that's had to move to uni. It's just more of that university kind of camaraderie, and you build that relationship with the university, and it's kind of becomes more than just a place where you come to get your degree. You really kind of feel an attachment to where you are.
Yeah.
Does the university have any industry connections?
Yeah, the university has many industry connections. I know at the business school we have a database which has over 1,000 connections with various industries. And that can range from a non-for-profit organisation up to one of the top listed banking firms or the top 100 on the ASX Stock Exchange. So we've got a number of connections, and we've had to strengthen those connections because we've got a number of offerings like the industry and community engagement projects that we do with industry.
Yeah.
So that's where we're trying to get students to go out to industry with a number of teachers working on a real life project. So our industry connections are absolutely crucial to how we operate, and they're getting even deeper
Yeah.
as we develop more opportunities for students to work with people from industry. For example, the DL mentoring program is just one of those areas where we've had to develop more connections with industry because they're going to mentor students
Yeah.
in their second year. So there's a lot of opportunities and connections with industry. So good luck.
Thank
And
you very much.
I hope to see you in the advanced studies.
Yes, I look forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be
It's going to
fun.
be great.
Our Bachelor of Commerce, and hopefully that'll provide you with a little bit of an insight into life at the business school. Hello, my name is Mark Westcott. I'm the Deputy Director of the Bachelor of Commerce and Advanced Studies, and I'd really like to welcome you all here today, and I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of the business school to congratulate all our recent school leavers. It's been a tumultuous year this year, and you've done really well, and you should be proud of your achievements to get as far as you have. So congratulations from all of us here. I'm here with one of our commerce students, Vince Lamb, and he's going to share some of the insights that he's gained from his experience of studying at the business school. And Vince, I might start by asking you why you chose to come to the University of Sydney and do the Bachelor of Commerce in the business school.
Okay, awesome. So again, hi, my name is Vince and I study a Bachelor of Commerce and a Bachelor of Advanced Studies, majoring in Marketing and Design. This is a question that comes up quite often in terms of why I chose Sydney and why I decided to choose business. So I think for me, back a few years ago in terms of why I picked Sydney specifically, I think I just looked at the whole kind of overall experience I was looking forward to. In terms of what I wanted a flexible degree, I wanted a whole university campus experience, and I also wanted to maximize all my opportunities. And I think Sydney, and particularly the business school, really provided me with that opportunity to, design a degree based on my interests, and also being able to maximize and take up all the different opportunities available. And that's what essentially led me to studying a Bachelor of Commerce and a Bachelor of Advanced Studies, where I'm able to combine my different areas of interest with being able to combine my business area of marketing with a major in design, which kind of just fuses the strategic side of business alongside my creativity.
Yeah.
And specifically speaking about advanced studies, again, a question that comes up very often as well in terms of what actually is advanced studies? What do you learn in that fourth year? And I think the perfect way to describe it, Mark, is that it's a great way to kind of bridge theory and application together and being able to apply everything that you've learned throughout the first 3 years of your degree in that fourth year of study. And as part of that fourth year, you have two pathways. So you can either undertake a research project or advanced coursework, which is kind of more focused on project and practical learning experiences. And I felt that that was a better way for me to, again, fuse everything that I've learned throughout my first 3 years into that fourth year of study. And in terms of some of the subjects available, what I actually undertook this year as part of the advanced studies was a subject in agile project management and design thinking methodologies. And they're not specifically aligned to a relevant subject area or discipline. Again, great way to apply everything that you've learned. And I think it was really helpful for me because I can see, because employers, they look for those who are agile, look for those who have interdisciplinary skill sets. And I think Sydney provides students with that opportunity to gain those real life experiences and being able to, not only study business, but also able to apply that business thinking in other areas. And again, I think it works really well because when you graduate, you're not only going to be surrounded by business graduates or science graduates, you're going to be surrounded by those with different backgrounds and disciplines. And I think Sydney provides you with that interdisciplinary effectiveness and skill set and preparation to succeed in the workplace. And I think, again, that's what essentially led me here, and being able to undertake all those opportunities, I'm really grateful for.
Excellent. That's in part what it's designed to do. So I'm really happy that it's been successful in your case, Vince. Now, you alluded to some of the opportunities that are available at Sydney. You've talked a little bit about the Bachelor of Commerce and the Advanced Studies program. Maybe you'd like to elaborate a little bit more on the opportunities that you've taken up as part of your study here.
Yep.
And we can talk to some of those opportunities more broadly.
Okay. So again, another reason why I picked Sydney was a range of different opportunities available, and specifically at the business school, we do have opportunities such as the industry placement program if you're looking to gain practical workplace experience and having that count towards your degree. Or for example, there's also self-sourced placements as well. If you find an internship and you want to have that credited as well, you do have that opportunity. And there's a range of different partners that you can take up with that are aligned to your discipline. Again, highlights a range of different partnerships that the business school has. In addition to that, if you're more focused on social entrepreneurship, there's also the Remote and Rural Enterprise Program, or REAR program for short, if you're looking to gain that particular experience. But we also have a range of different international opportunities as well. So I've been very fortunate to undertake a study tour in China 2 years ago during the winter break, which is a great way to kind of immerse myself in how businesses in China conduct, and kind of reflecting on that and what my kind of particular experiences are like here in Sydney. In addition to that, there's also a range of different international opportunities. If you want to get international workplace experience or an international exchange, we also have those opportunities. So again, these are just a number of the different range of opportunities available at the business school. And again, just highlighting just to maximize all these opportunities because they are designed for students to take up.
So what I'm hearing is that we've got great disciplinary depth, and we're allowing you to apply that through instances like the Advanced Studies year. There are a range of opportunities, both in terms of domestic industry placement as well as global mobility opportunities. There's a whole range of different things that you can do in your business degree. There's only a certain number of units and a certain amount of time that you have to do that. How have you managed to fit it all in?
So for me, before I started, I definitely knew that I wanted to go on international experience. And with that particular experience, it was a semester exchange in the UK, that being 6 months in duration. And 6 months is quite a substantial chunk of your degree. And I remember the moment I started, actually, I had a few support staff at the business school telling me to plan your degree or plan my degree. And I was like, what does planning your degree mean? Like, I had no idea what that meant. After doing a bit of research and also being advised by the staff at the business school, it pretty much means planning out what you're essentially studying or undertaking for each semester of each year of your degree, because university study, or I guess, university or bachelor's is very different to high school, where you're not told what to do. You pretty much have the opportunity to, again, design a degree based off your interests. You want to study this subject in this semester or a language in another semester. You can also do that as part of your studies here, or I guess university study. And I think by planning my degree, again, just kind of outlines that, okay, this semester I'll be doing these marketing units, this semester I'll be doing design units, and then this semester I want to go on exchange, and also making sure that I fit those subjects in and it also complies with the requirements of my degree, because essentially there's all these specific rules, and there's a thing called the handbook, which I'm sure all you would know when you come to study at the university, that the handbook is pretty much a go-to for everything you need to know about your degree. And I encourage you all to have a look at the handbook, plan your degree the moment you start, have a think about what you want to do, whether it's going to be an international experience, a study abroad program, or an internship opportunity, and just making sure that you're able to maximize these opportunities at certain points of your degree, having that verified by the business school to make sure they can maximize it. Because I have students coming up to me all the time being like, how the hell did you do all that stuff and all those opportunities? And the only piece of advice I have is planning your degree and maximizing all the support opportunities available by the staff at the business school, because they are there to help you and support you throughout your university journey, because that transition can be quite overwhelming, but there's help where you need it.
I'd really like to just support that piece of advice. That there are a range of opportunities, and part of the attraction of coming here is that breadth of opportunity, but it's really important to think about how that will fit into your degree program and make sure that you complete the requirements of your degree program, because that's what we're focused on at the end of the day. Now, Vince, you've mentioned, or you've alluded to in that answer, that there's some support services that are available to students, both in terms of degree planning, but also in terms of supporting you as you go through your degree and your studies. Is there anything, are there specific examples, or can you speak a little bit more to those support services?
Okay. Yeah, again, there's a range of different support. First of all, the moment you start at the business school, you'll be supported from day one. And I remember when I started, there was a peer mentoring program. This is part of orientation week back a few years ago. And we have this every beginning of semester where you have the opportunity to be paired up with a senior student, whether it's going to be a second year, third year, or fourth year student, who again knows the in and outs of university. And it's great to have that particular experience, because you're not necessarily getting a perspective from an academic, from a staff member. You're actually getting, I guess, a perspective or support from peers themselves. And it's great because, they give you tips that you might not know, and they've experienced university for themselves. So it's good to kind of hear from their particular experiences, kind of how university works. And that's just one of the different range of support services available at the business school. We also have peer-assisted study sessions, or PASS for short, and it's a great way to, again, gain support from peers who've succeeded in particular subjects, where it's going to be a core unit of study or subject in your relevant major. And again, it's good to get that perspective, because you might not, I guess, for academics, it might kind of convey or try to teach you something in one particular way. But then for peers, they might, again, share those tips that you might not have heard of previously. And in addition to that, we also have our dedicated careers and employability office, and it's one big highlight at the business school, being able to have a career service and support service that is able to provide you with any dedicated support you needed, whether it's going to be looking for an internship, if you want to get your resume checked, mock interviews, and also they also run a range of different networking events and sessions with industry partners as well. So again, great way to kind of hear from industry partners and also have that particular support from the business school, because it, again, harnesses all the different industry links that the business school has. And on top of that, there's also maths and business workshops. So if you're not particularly too skilled in maths, I'm not too skilled in maths, I definitely encourage you to have a look at those workshops, because again, they're designed for students to take part, kind of maximize. And so it pretty much just highlights that there's a range of different academic, professional, and also university support available at the business school. And this is in addition to the range of university level support that's available as well.
Sure, yeah, and I'd just like to reinforce too that really deep and rich alumni that we have out of the business school, which we're quite adept at touching upon and helping our students by bringing them into the classroom and leveraging those alumni as well. So before I just throw a really quick last questions to you, Vince, I'd just like to reinforce that in terms of the life cycle as a student, what we try and do in the business school is help you transition from school into university, and that's sometimes a little bit of a tricky transition, as Vince has alluded to. We've got a range of different support services to help you while you're studying here within the business school, and we've got some designated support services that are explicitly designed to help you transition from the end of your studies out into the real world, as we call it, to help you transition into your career and help you succeed in your career. And we hope that you can feed back into the business school as a consequence of that. Now, Vince, I know this is your last semester. I know you're just about to finish up, so maybe really quickly, a highlight of the degree?
I think it's really hard to pick because there's just so many opportunities available. I think a highlight would definitely have to be undertaking a project unit in the Northern Territory. So this is with the business school. I was one of a few business school representatives there, and I was working with students from science, law, engineering, again, reflecting the interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary level of study that you're able to have at the university. And I was being able to work on a real life project in Kakadu National Park, working with Indigenous communities to help a local town be self-sustainable. And I just found that particular experience quite transformative because I never, first of all, I didn't think I'll be able to travel to the Northern Territory, let alone work with Indigenous communities on a project so substantial and quite meaningful in nature as well, because I was used to working on projects and assignments that were quite either a hypothetical case, whereas this was abstract. Very real, being able to go there in person, being able to present our findings, being able to engage with stakeholders themselves, I think was very meaningful. It's definitely holds a bit of a memory throughout my university studies, and it's a part I look quite fondly on. And it just kind of showcases just, again, the range of opportunities available. And I definitely encourage all students to take part in them. I kind of put my hand up. I didn't know what to expect, but I was like, why not? Why not give it a go? And I'm very glad that I did that and made that choice.
Yeah, and that sits really nicely with our theme of leadership for good across the university, and it's something that we do try and embody, I guess, in the business school as well. So thanks for your time today, Vince. Thank you all for joining us. I'd really like to wish you the best of luck with your journey forward. You've achieved great things so far. Let's try and achieve them further in the business school at the University of Sydney. So up next we have some representatives from UAC.
Today we're going to be talking about preferences and offers. My name's Susanna and this is my colleague Georgia, and we're both community engagement officers here at UAC.
So for Year 12 this year, the first offer that you'll be considered for is the school's recommendation scheme, and these offers are released to students from the 12th of November. But in order to be considered for this, you'll need to have your change of preferences locked in by the 8th of November to be considered for this scheme. So Susanna, how do I change my preferences?
Okay, so this is super simple. Once you've done your undergraduate application, you can log back in, click on Manage My Application, and here you can add, remove, reorder your preferences. You can change your preferences as many times as you want, so it's really handy if you're indecisive like me.
So you've just answered my next question. Students can change their preferences as many times as they like, is that right?
Yeah, that's it. So basically, we've had students that have changed their preferences over 80 times. So you can do it as many times as you want, you won't break the system.
And how do I list my preferences in my application?
Okay, good question. So students are always asking us this because universities will tell you, put their preferences number one. But here at UAC, we tell you, put your dream courses number one. That's the most important thing, because remember, this application is about you and what you want to study next year. So dream course number one. If our system looks at your number one preference and doesn't give you an offer to that, it'll jump down to number two, number three, number four. So at the end of the day, dream course number one, and then you list according to that. So Georgia, you mentioned SRS. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, SRS stands for the school's recommendation scheme. This is an early entry scheme for Year 12 students. What this is using other selection criteria. So this could be your Year 11 results, other selection criteria, it might be a portfolio, things like that. It might look at your ATAR in conjunction to this or instead of this. And we have 12 participating universities that are taking part in this scheme for 2020. And this will give you an offer before you get your HSC and ATAR results. So it's an early offer.
So I've heard that you could receive two kinds of offers with SRS. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, that's right. So there's two types of SRS offers. So the first type is what we call an unconditional offer. And essentially this means that the university that's looked at your SRS application really likes you as a student. They basically are very happy with your application and you've met all the selection criteria for that course and you have an offer and there's nothing else that you need to do. You can enroll into that particular SRS course pretty much straight away if you wanted to. And the other type we have is a conditional offer. So this means that the university's seeing you, they really like you, they want you to study there next year, obviously, but they just want to see, you achieve a certain ATAR before you can clear that condition and enroll into that course. So once you get your HSC results and your ATAR, your offer will go from a conditional offer and it converts to an unconditional offer, and then you can enroll and start studying that particular course.
So Georgia, you mentioned these conditional offers. What does the student do in November when they receive one of these? Because obviously when you receive the unconditional offer, you can enroll straight away. But what about conditional offers?
Yeah, so with your conditional offer, basically you just leave it in your preference list. Obviously, you want to be keeping your dream course number one if you want to be trying for another course in the December round 2 offers. And then once you get your HSC results and your ATAR, that conditional offer will convert to an unconditional offer, and hopefully you'll be able to accept it and enroll.
So there's a lot of confusion regarding how conditional offers convert. So I'm just going to go through a quick example in the UAC application. So let's have a look at our example here. So say you were successful in receiving a conditional offer for engineering. So what you can do if you'd like to try for entry into another course, in our example, you're going to be trying for entry into the Bachelor of Science. So what you will do is you'll move the course that you've already received a conditional offer for. So that's the Bachelor of Engineering. You can move that to your second preference. And then what we will do at UAC is we will look at your new preference list. We'll see if you're eligible to get an offer for that Bachelor of Science. And if for whatever reason you miss out on getting an offer to that course, then we will automatically assess if you've cleared your condition for your SRS offer into that Bachelor of Engineering. And then if you've successfully met the conditions on your Bachelor of Engineering course, we'll clear those for you, and this means that your conditional offer has converted to an unconditional offer. So lots of students get a little bit confused and they think that they need to have their SRS courses as their number one preference. This isn't necessarily true. If you'd like to try for another course, you can put that new course as your first preference, and if you miss out, we'll jump down to your SRS offer and check to see if you can clear the conditions for that. And as always, we will go down the order of your preferences until we reach a course that we can give you an offer to. So it doesn't need to be your number one preference, but it should be your highest eligible preference.
Speaking about offers, how do you actually know that you get an offer?
Yeah, so we obviously have our offer round dates advertised, so you will know when you'll be receiving an offer. So you can go into your application on those dates and check if you've received anything, but you'll also get an email from us if you have any correspondence. So if you get an email, you'll know to go and check your application and see the correspondence there, if there's anything you need to accept and change.
Cool. So by the way, key dates, they're found in the inside cover of your UAC guide. They're found on our website, and we're always posting about those on our social media. So follow us there. So who actually decides who gets an offer?
Yeah, so people get confused by this. UAC just processes applications. The people that are making offers are actually the universities. So they set the selection criteria and they're determining which applicants will be made an offer. So that is all by the universities.
Okay, so that's all well and good, but how many offers can you actually receive?
Yeah, so you can only receive one offer at one time, so one offer per offer round, but you can receive multiple offers. So as we said, SRS is the first offers that Year 12 students can receive, so you can get one SRS offer, or you can get multiple conditional SRS offers. You'll know by the 12th of November, but you can also get an offer in the December round 2, and you can change your preference list, reorder, and you can also get offers in the later offer rounds that follow December. So we have 2 rounds in January, 2 rounds in February, and 1 round in March that you could also receive an offer as well. So there's plenty of opportunities to receive offers, but you can only get one offer in one offer round, except for SRS. If you're getting a conditional offer, you can get a few of those.
Okay, cool. So this is good news for you guys. So this means that if you don't get your dream course in that first offer round in December, you might be able to get it in January, or you hold tight and you might be able to get it in February. So keep that in mind when the offer rounds do start coming out.
Okay, so if I've received a few offers, what should I be doing?
Yeah, okay, this is really important. Make sure once you've got the offer that you're really after, you accept that one, and then you call up the other institutions and you just decline the offers. Because obviously when you accept an offer, that university thinks that you're going there. So you need to make sure you call up, decline those offers, so you've just got the one that you're after.
So if I've applied directly to a university for their early entry, do I need to list those courses in my UAC application? What happens there?
Okay, so no need to list it in your UAC application. So you've got that course there in direct entry, free up your UAC application to put in other courses. So at the end of the day, you've got those courses over there and you've got all these extra spaces for other preferences.
So if I get an offer for university, but I'm not really sure if I want to study or if I'm not ready, is there something that I can do so I don't lose my offer? I've heard of this word called deferring. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, okay. So deferring basically means putting your course on hold. For me, I deferred uni for 6 months when I was in year 12, but for others it might mean for a full year. Double check with the uni, the institution, to make sure that they actually offer deferring in those courses, because every uni is different. So it's important that you do defer a course if you're not interested in studying, because year 12 students get so many extra adjustments that non-year 12 applicants are not eligible for. So double check with the uni if they offer deferring. Defer. If you're not interested in doing that course when you get back to uni, you can always cancel it. It doesn't cost you anything. But make sure you apply as a year 12 student just to get those extra adjustments.
So if you'd like to know more about adjustment factors and how this increases your selection rank for university, we do have a whole video that explains this. So you can find it on our channel. We'll link it above if you want to click on it and find out more about this topic.
So Georgia, how long do students have to accept their offers?
Generally, it's between 7 and 10 days, but it really depends on the uni. So we always advise students, once you know you have an offer, accept it, because it's not guaranteed that that offer will stay in the system forever. So jump into your application, accept the offer. That will direct you through to the university's page, and you can go through the steps that you need to do at the university's end.
Yeah, so basic tip to take away from this is accept every single offer you receive. So an SRS offer comes through, make sure you accept it. If the offers in December or January come through, make sure you accept all of those ones. That's what we want your key takeaway to be. So now we're going to go through some what ifs, some questions that we always receive. The first one is, what if I don't receive an offer? Is that possible?
Yeah, so if you log into your application and you've seen that you haven't been made an offer, it's really important to think about what's happened to your application that's led to this. So usually we would ask you to look at the preferences in your list, check out the lowest selection rank, and make sure that the ATAR that you've achieved is around about this lowest selection rank that's, in your preference list. If you do have all of your preferences that have lowest selection ranks that are quite a lot higher than the ATAR that you have achieved, then it's probably this moment in time that you might reassess what your options are, maybe take a look at some of your Plan B courses and look at rearranging your preference list or changing the order of your preferences.
So you've heard us talking about lowest selection rank. So I just quickly want to clarify what that means. Lowest selection rank is the lowest entrance number. So it could be your ATAR or ATAR plus adjustments that a university is going to take into consideration when they're giving out offers to students.
Yeah, so you can find the lowest selection rank on our course search page. So if you know that you want to do a Bachelor of Nursing, for example, at a particular university, you can find that in our course search page, select that course, and we will display the lowest selection rank for that course for last year. So you can compare the numbers that way. It'll give you an idea of how your ATAR stacks up for competitiveness for entry into that particular course. So Susanna, what happens if I think my ATAR is too low to get into university, or if it's a lot lower than I thought? What can I do then?
Yeah, so it's time to look at some other options. So usually what students will do, if university is the goal, they'll get into a degree that has either a lower selection rank, or B, they'll go into different courses like a diploma course, or they'll go to TAFE, or they'll find some other pathway. And then that qualification will be the new selection rank for the student.
Okay, cool. So once I complete my new studies, the university will then look at that instead of my ATAR when I apply again.
Essentially. But as always, double check with the universities what their entrance requirements are. So not all universities will take every single pathway option. So just do a little bit of research around that. So our final question, Georgia, how do students get another offer?
Yeah, so lots of students think that they can only get one offer and then they're done. That's absolutely not true. You can definitely try for multiple offers, but you can only get one offer at one time. So in order to be considered for another offer in the next offer round, what you need to do is go into your application, accept the offer that you've been made, and then remove that course from your preference list. So take the course out that you've already been made an offer to, and then rearrange your preference list. So you could put in 5 new preferences for 5 different courses, or from the remaining 4, you can change the order of those. And hopefully in the next offer round, you'll be made an offer for your next course that you are hoping to get into. And then you'll have the 2 offers to decide between for the course that you want to study at university.
So that's enough from us. If you've got any other questions about offers or preferences, we're going to be opening up comments for you guys to drop a comment in. And of course, you can always DM us on Instagram or on Facebook, or give us a call if you want to talk to us on the phone. But thanks for listening.
Well, thank you so much to the Business School and the Community Engagement team at UAC for all of those presentations. I hope you're finding them really helpful at home. Once again, we're really sorry that we couldn't bring you in on campus today, but these interviews and all of this information, I hope it's being really helpful to help you figure out what you might be able to preference tonight or what you might want to study at the University of Sydney. So stay tuned. If your area of interest hasn't come up yet, it should be on the way. We've still got lots more exciting content to come up. Up next, we've got the Sydney School of Health Sciences. If you have any questions throughout, please use the Q&A chat function below. We'll get back to you as soon as we can with some helpful answers from our staff members. I would like to now introduce Zainab, who'll be interviewing Dr. Melanie Keep, the Director of Academic Education. So stay tuned now as they discuss the pathways to health and medicine.
Hi, I'm Zainab Banver from the University of Sydney. I'm joined today by Dr. Melanie Keep, Director of Academic Education, to talk about pathways to study medicine and health at the University of Sydney. A career in health is highly sought after for many reasons. Healthcare is one of the fastest growing industries around the world, and people are drawn to the opportunity to make a difference in others' lives, as well as the flexibility to enjoy diverse careers domestically and internationally. The University of Sydney offers the widest range of medicine and health programs in Australia. You can see the full range of our degrees offered up on our screen now. What options are available to students who don't get into their first choice?
Hi, Zainab. So for students who don't meet the entry criteria for their first preference, there are a number of different pathways that would enable them to study health.
That's reassuring. So for physiotherapy, which is a popular choice for many students, it comes with an ATAR of 99. For students who fall short of this, how can they still study physiotherapy with us?
These students can complete an undergraduate degree in exercise and sports science and then complete the Master of Physiotherapy. The Master of Physiotherapy has 5 prerequisite knowledge requirements. So this means that students will need to choose their undergraduate degree with the Master of Physiotherapy in mind. These prerequisites are human anatomy, human physiology, exercise physiology, neuroscience, and psychology. The Bachelor of Applied Science, Exercise and Sports Science covers these 5 areas of prerequisite knowledge. So, to become a physiotherapist, you can either try for direct entry into the 4-year Bachelor of Applied Science Physiotherapy, or you can complete the 3-year Bachelor of Applied Science Exercise and Sports Science and then apply for entry into the 2-year Master of Physiotherapy. With a direct entry pathway, you are eligible for recognition as a physiotherapist in 4 years. On the other hand, the graduate entry pathway will mean that you are eligible for professional recognition in 5 years. And this second pathway is a great option for students who have a passion for or a curiosity about exercise and sport and want to study that in their undergraduate degree.
Great. So study in exercise sports science is definitely an option. Are there any other pathways into physiotherapy?
Yes, students can enrol in a Bachelor of Science Health with a major in human movement in order to meet these 5 prerequisite knowledge requirements. They can then apply for a 2-year graduate entry Master of Physiotherapy degree.
Interesting. Can you tell me a little bit more about the Bachelor of Science Health and what does this degree involve?
I would be delighted. I know we're not meant to have favourites, but this is one of my favourite courses. The Bachelor of Science Health provides a comprehensive grounding in health and health systems at the local, national and global level. You will develop a strong science foundation and the ability to think critically about health and healthcare now and into the future.
Okay, and what about graduate entry master's degrees? Can anyone apply to them?
A graduate entry master, or a GEM as we like to call them, is a 2-year postgraduate degree that enables students who have an undergraduate qualification in another discipline to train and graduate with a professional health qualification. Our students come from a range of backgrounds, from commerce and arts to science. I should mention though that their individual courses have specific entry requirements and students are responsible for completing those requirements before applying to our GEM courses.
Okay, noted. What sort of postgraduate health courses does the University of Sydney offer?
We offer a range of courses that you're about to see on your screen. Diagnostic radiography, exercise physiology, occupational therapy, physiotherapy, and speech language pathology. We also offer pharmacy, nursing, medicine, and dentistry.
So a student can do a Master of Pharmacy without prior knowledge in pharmacy?
Yes, the Master of Pharmacy is designed for students without prior knowledge in pharmacy. However, there are specific prerequisites that they would have to meet, including units or subjects in calculus, statistics, chemistry, biochemistry, pharmacology, and physiology. So, if a student misses out on the ATAR of 90 required to get into the Bachelor of Pharmacy, they can complete a Bachelor of Science and then within that complete the subjects to meet these knowledge prerequisites. The Master Program also has mandatory placement hours and is accredited by the Australian Pharmacy Council. So once students complete the 1,824 hours of supervised practical training, as well as an intern training program, they may be eligible to register with the Pharmacy Board of Australia.
And what about nursing? Can a student with no background in nursing apply for the Master of Nursing?
Yes, the Master of Nursing program is specifically designed for students who don't have a background in nursing. It is a 2-year degree and students will be eligible to apply for registration as a nurse at the end of it. There are no prerequisites or minimum grade point average requirement to apply. Many of our students are seeking a career change and have backgrounds in finance or something else completely different. To become a nurse, there is also the option to apply for a combined degree straight out of high school, such as the Bachelor of Arts and Master of Nursing, or the Bachelor of Science and Master of Nursing, or the Bachelor of Science Health and Master of Nursing.
Okay, combined degrees. Why would a student choose a combined degree?
Why wouldn't you do a combined degree? There are many, many benefits to enrolling in a combined degree, but ultimately it provides a wide range of career opportunities across both clinical and non-clinical jobs. Students will learn with and from leading academics across the arts and humanities, science and healthcare disciplines. They will graduate with 2 degrees after just 4 years of full-time study and will be eligible to apply for professional registration. So if you're a student who wants a career in nursing or healthcare, but you're also passionate about the arts or about science, then you don't have to choose, you get to do them both.
That's great. So what about students who aren't thinking that far ahead towards postgraduate study? What options besides transfers are available to them as an undergraduate student?
Well, we offer the Bachelor of Liberal Arts and Science at the University of Sydney, which has a guaranteed ATAR of 70, and this enables students to major in health and develop communication and analytical skills that can be used in life beyond the classroom. This degree opens up opportunities to a diverse range of careers in academia, health administration, education, management, and of course, for those who wish to pursue further education in health, they can choose one of our postgraduate health degrees, provided, of course, that they also meet any prerequisites. This option also means that the maths prerequisite does not apply. So if you haven't studied mathematics in high school and you now wish to study health, this would be an excellent pathway.
It's great to know. Are there any other pathways that students can access?
Yes, so we offer the Academic Excellence Scheme, which recognises high performance in English and maths by applying adjustment factors that boost a student's selection rank. So for students whose ATAR or equivalent IB score is up to 5 points below the entry requirement for their course of choice, through excellence in English or mathematics, you can still potentially gain entry into that course. This applies to our undergraduate degrees in exercise and sports science, exercise physiology, nursing, including the combined nursing degrees as well, and pharmacy, as well as pharmacy and management. So achieving band 5 in high-level English or maths will give students an additional 3 points, while achieving band 6 will give an additional 5 points.
Oh, okay, that's so good to know. Thanks, Mel. That's really helpful. It certainly sounds like there are many pathways to studying health and building a meaningful career in healthcare.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for your time today, Zainab, and I am very excited to be welcoming all of these students into health next year.
Thank you so much to Dr. Melanie Keep and Zainab for that insightful look into the pathways into health and medicine. I hope that's helped some of you at home still deciding what to put as your preferences tonight. But now we're going to cross over to Grace Folder, who's going to give us a very exciting first ever virtual tour of our brand new Susan Wakil Building. And then she'll sit down for an exclusive interview with Inam Haq, the Associate Dean of Doctor of Medicine and Health Sciences. So stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Grace Folder and I'm studying a Bachelor of Applied Science in Occupational Therapy. Today I am here at the brand new state-of-the-art Susan Wakil Health Building. This new building will be open in 2021 and will place our students and staff at the forefront of health innovation, learning and policy. It is designed to be a place of innovation, learning and collaboration. Spread out over 8 floors with views across the city, its facilities include state-of-the-art clinical simulation teaching spaces, formal and informal learning and contemporary research facilities, and a clinic and specialist teaching spaces for 10 health disciplines as well as other amazing facilities. And now I am going to show you around this new building. This is one of the simulation labs designed to give nursing students a genuine hands-on experience in their learning. It is fully equipped with state-of-the-art beds and sophisticated mannequins within a simulated hospital environment. All of the mannequins are software operated and programmed with real-life scenarios, for example, a patient choking or suffering a heart attack. There are 6 simulation rooms set up this way, including one room which is a dedicated simulation room for students to practice in their own time. They can book in to use this space. This is the high fidelity simulation room, which houses even more sophisticated mannequins. Nursing students are observed doing their practicals through a one-way mirror, and nursing staff can control the mannequins through another room and then observe their students' performance through this one-way mirror. We have a team of registered nurses who manage the cases for simulations. Classmates can also observe each other's practicals through the other one-way mirror. This space will be utilised by both the Bachelor of Nursing, Advanced Studies, and the Master of Nursing students. Nursing students will definitely be spending a lot of time here, and there is a cafe just outside the Susan Wakil Building, as well as a kiosk on level 4. Students will also have access to day lockers throughout the building, as well as a library and a 24/7 study space. What you see here are the student study rooms. This is where students conduct their clinical placements or their regular coursework to practice speech pathology. The placements run within a real clinic with real patients, generally children with speech issues who have been referred by their schools or their GPs. We also have a teaching gym on this level that allows students to be recorded doing practical tasks, to watch and assess themselves and learn from it. We are here in the soundproof booth, which are designed to support the teaching of simulated clinical scenarios and problem-based learning for students. Students will also be able to access a voice analysis facility, fully equipped for simultaneous visual imaging, respiratory and acoustic measurement. That brings us to the end of our tour for today. We are now going to meet Professor Anam Hark from the Faculty of Medicine and Health to talk to us more about what the Susan Wakil Building has on offer for our students. Today I am joined by Professor Anam Hark, Associate Dean in Education for the Faculty of Medicine and Health. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure.
I wanted to ask you a few questions about the new Susan Wakil Health Building and what this will mean for our students. So to begin with today, which students will be based in the new Susan Wakil Building?
Great, I'm very excited about this building. From 2021, all students studying nursing or any of our health sciences programs will be located on our Camperdown Darlington campus. Some of the medical students from the Central Clinical School will also study in this building as well. We're bringing these health disciplines into a single precinct for the first time, enabling students to benefit from a world-class multidisciplinary learning experience.
Can you please tell us a little bit about the location of the Susan Wakil Health Building and why it was situated here?
The building's in the perfect situation. It's located in close proximity to the Royal Prince Alfred Hospital, which enables students to be close to one of the largest teaching hospitals in the country. The RPA, the Prince Alfred Hospital, is also very close to the Charles Perkins Centre. This is a major interdisciplinary research centre which focuses on things like diabetes, obesity and cardiovascular disease. And this is allowing our students and our researchers to work together with the health department and our health workers to learn from one another and improve knowledge in these important areas.
So today we've looked at some of the new nursing and speech pathology spaces for students, but some places we didn't get to see because they haven't been fitted out yet. Can you please tell me a little bit more about what's to come in these areas? Let's start with exercise sports science. What's happening there?
So we have dedicated teaching spaces for exercise and sports science students. Our new teaching spaces are equipped so that students will use up-to-date and gold standard techniques for testing and training, including breath-by-breath gas analysis and biomechanics force plates with piezoelectric sensors, along with machines for almost every imaginable mode of exercise you can imagine.
Can you please tell us a little bit about the spaces for imaging and diagnostic radiography?
Yes, we have a suite of specialist medical imaging spaces which can provide opportunities for clinical skills development and simulated learning environments for students studying the discipline of medical imaging science. These spaces will feature state-of-the-art equipment ranging from X-ray machines, MRI and CT scanners to highly sophisticated cardiac units and ultrasound machines.
And what about occupational therapy? What new facilities will be available to those students?
There will be dedicated teaching spaces for occupational therapy. Our teaching philosophy embraces the thinking that rather than disability being a problem of the individual, it is a creation of the environment. People don't have a disability, but they can experience disability created by poorly designed environments. 2 rooms in the new Susan Wakil building will allow students to see this firsthand. Firstly, there's the Activities of Daily Living lab, which will demonstrate how a fully modified home environment can reduce disability and promote meaningful participation in daily life activities. Secondly, there's a home lab that replicates a standard studio apartment. This space will allow students to observe and analyse the disability created by the environment for individuals living with varying abilities, particularly those who have experienced a recent change through illness or injury. Using their specialised skills in occupation analysis, occupational therapy students can then use this space to explore and diagnose the disability created by the built environment and propose innovative solutions to reduce the impact of the disability created by these environments. Designed by a team of experts, these spaces will enhance students' learning through hands-on opportunities to apply their skills in real-life situations. For the occupational therapy student, these experiences will prepare them for further extending their skills in the 1,000 hours of clinical placement experiences that they will have during their course.
A lot of students watching today will have missed out on their first preference. What options do we have available for these students?
Great question. We offer all our professional programs at the master's as well as the bachelor's level. That means students have 2 pathways to accreditation as a health professional. If students aren't successful in gaining entry into the 4-year bachelor programs, they should do an undergraduate degree and then follow it up with a master's in a health discipline such as pharmacy, nursing, or a range of health science professions. For many of our graduate master's programs, you can choose any undergraduate degree. However, some degrees, such as physiotherapy, do have prerequisite knowledge requirements. So these are some great options to consider when choosing your pathway. Exercise and sports science is an excellent degree in its own right. It will meet the prerequisite knowledge requirements for the Master of Physiotherapy. Also, there is the Bachelor of Science Health, which gives great foundational knowledge of the Australian health system and biomedical science. If you choose the movement science major, you'll also meet the prerequisite knowledge for physiotherapy. But please note that there is a math prerequisite requirement for the Bachelor of Science Health. For entry into other graduate master's degrees without such prerequisites, students can choose the Bachelor of Liberal Arts and Sciences with a health major. This is an exciting new pathway available for the first time in 2021, and it's ideal for students who haven't done the right level of maths and does not have the maths requirement for entry as the Bachelor of Science Health does.
This year, we have had a lot of interest in pharmacy, likely as a result of the focus on finding a vaccine for COVID-19. Can you tell us a little bit more about the School of Pharmacy?
Yes, of course. Pharmacy students won't be based in the new Susan Wakil Building per se, but they are situated close by in the pharmacy building, which is part of the Sydney Health Precinct, which is part of the wider university. The University of Sydney is home to Australia's first pharmacy school, and it's ranked number 24 in the world for pharmacy, according to the QS World Rankings by Subject 2020. The degree offers up to 6 weeks of clinical placements throughout the degree and an intern training programme in community, hospital, rural or industrial settings to prepare you for the registration as a health professional. The Bachelor of Pharmacy and Management is the only course of its kind in Australasia, and in addition to the pharmacy knowledge, you'll also gain the opportunity to complete units in areas such as marketing, business, finance and management and human resources. Our graduates are in high demand. Not only is the University of Sydney ranked first in Australia for graduate employability, but 85% of our registered pharmacy graduates gain employment after 1 month.
What do you think is the main advantage for students choosing to study medicine and health at the University of Sydney?
Now is the perfect time to study medicine and health at Sydney University. As one faculty of medicine and health, we now contain the largest number of health disciplines and courses in Australia. And with the new building, the Susan Wakil Building, which will be housing nursing and health sciences, it's the best time for students from different health professions to learn with and from each other rather than working in silos. And we all know now, to help treat our patients best and our communities best, all health professions need to work as teams and not as individuals. And also our researchers and teachers and students being close together and working together allows us to bring the research findings into practice very quickly using the best evidence.
Lastly, what opportunities are there to encourage students from diverse backgrounds to study medicine and health at the University of Sydney?
It's really important for the University and the Faculty of Medicine and Health to ensure that students who come and study here reflect the communities that they will eventually go out and serve as health professionals. We offer general and faculty-specific scholarships to rural and regional students, as well as Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students. For example, the Rural and Regional Enterprise Scholarship Scheme and the University of Sydney Access Scholarship. The Faculty of Medicine and Health also has 3 rural clinical schools which are based in Dubbo, Orange and Lismore. Students from a variety of health disciplines will have an opportunity to complete placements at these facilities throughout their degree. This is really helpful, particularly if students would like to pursue a rural career after graduation. We're very excited to also have our 4-year Doctor of Medicine programme offered at the School of Rural Health in Dubbo in partnership with the federal government from 2022. This will be really good for students who wish to enjoy working and studying in a fully rural environment for the whole programme with a smaller cohort.
That's great to know. Are there any specific services available for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students?
A range of support programs are available to our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students. Some examples include the Gadigal Program. This is both an admissions pathway and support program. This allows students to enter a degree with support, both academic and pastoral. Recent and non-recent school leavers can apply. But if you're applying for a postgraduate degree, you'll need to fill out a specific application form. There's also dedicated university and faculty support for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students.
Thank you so much for speaking with us today, Professor Inam Haq.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to Grace and Professor Inam Haq for all of that information, and also how cool is the new Susan Wakil building? So if you're interested in health and medicine, get excited. That will be somewhere where you'll be studying. All of those rooms and laboratory spaces will be free for you to use when you come to the University of Sydney, and the new building is open for you. Once again, if you just joined us at home, I do want to mention that we have a Q&A function down below where you can ask all of your questions and a University of Sydney staff member will get back to you. We've had heaps of great questions come through today, all about entrance pathways, if I didn't get the ATAR, things about DL scholars. All of your questions can be answered there, so leave them down below. So, as we know, preferences for UAC close tonight at midnight, and that means that you still have a little bit of time to decide which university is right for you. And as I mentioned right back at the start, when I was sitting in your shoes today, 4 years ago, I still was a little bit unsure about what I wanted to do on this day, right before preferences closed. And if that's still your case, keep tuned and we've got some more interviews coming, so that might help you make that decision a little bit easier. But hang on in there whilst now we hear from our Sydney Future Students team member, Bridget, who will talk you through what the University of Sydney has to offer for you.
Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in today. My name is Bridget and I'm part of the Future Students team here at the University of Sydney. It is a really exciting time of year as many of you are about to embark on your next steps towards your future career. However, as you get closer to locking in your preferences for the main UAC offer round, some of you are perhaps still deciding which university is the right fit for you. In this presentation, I'm hoping to help make this decision a little bit easier by talking you through what the University of Sydney can offer. Firstly, it's a big place. As you can see on your screen there, we have 9 primary faculties and schools for you to choose from. We also recognise an important part of getting a great education is making it interdisciplinary. This means keeping your study options open and not limiting yourself to one specific area of study. The University of Sydney offers students various opportunities to expand their expertise and follow multiple interests, allowing us to produce well-rounded and job-ready graduates. So, what are some of these opportunities? Firstly, we offer all students access to a suite of online subjects available through the open learning environment. These can be taken either for credit towards your degree or just to build your own skills. Units are short, on demand, and let you build diverse skills to boost your personal and professional development. You could learn about anything from cryptocurrency to music notation to public speaking skills and even the psychology of crime. The best part is our 0 credit units can be taken for free. A number of our degrees have access to what is called the shared pool of majors and minors. Through the shared pool, you could take electives or even complete an entire major in an area that sits outside of your primary degree. For example, you could study a Bachelor of Commerce with a major in international business and then complete a second major or minor in a different area, such as a language, project management, or even microbiology if you wanted. This is possible because through the shared pool, you can access over 100 areas of study from across the university. Some of you might want to take this even further and choose to study a combined degree. This is where you study 2 different degrees simultaneously. For example, if you study a Bachelor of Laws, you can combine it with another degree such as a Bachelor in Arts, Economics, Commerce, Engineering, or Science. Studying a combined degree is a great way to make yourself competitive and broaden your options for employment. There are a range of combined degree options that you can find listed in our undergraduate guide. Now, you may not want to commit quite so much extra time to studying, or maybe the available combined degrees don't exactly match your interests. If this is the case, you might consider enrolling in the Bachelor of Advanced Studies, or as we call it for short, BAS. The BAS can be combined with an eligible 3-year bachelor's degree. It requires only 1 year of additional study, but allows you to graduate with 2 degrees. In addition to the requirements of your 3-year degree, you will also choose a second major as part of the Bachelor of Advanced Studies. You can even pick your second major from the share pool if you choose to do so. You will also have the option of completing either advanced coursework, which includes a 4th-year project to give you more industry experience and deepen your knowledge, or pursue honours, which includes a research project that's often a prerequisite for many postgraduate degrees like a Master of Research or PhD. Which option you choose will depend on your own personal goals and interests. There are also a number of specialisations that are only available through taking the combined Bachelor of Advanced Studies. For example, Media and Communications and our Taronga Wildlife Conservation stream. As you can see, there are lots of ways for you to design a degree that caters to your unique interests and learning goals. If you have further questions about this, we really encourage you to visit our academics and students in the course advice centres throughout Info Day. Many of you are probably wondering where a degree from the university may take you. We are proud to say that we are Australia's leading university for graduate employability. which is a reflection of our dedication to preparing students to enter the workforce. While each degree is designed to develop your graduate skills, we also have a number of programs to give you real-world experience while you study. For example, our accelerated programs like Sydney Genesis and Incubate support and encourage student entrepreneurs at different stages of the startup process. We also have facilities like ThinkSpace that enable students to create interesting things using new technologies like 3D printing and virtual reality. We work with over 45 leading organisations to create real-world projects and internships as part of your degree. In an industry project, you'll collaborate with students from other study areas, as well as business leaders to deliver real solutions to real problems. Our Careers Centre is another great resource for students. It provides career counselling services and other resources that will enable you to be in the best career position by the end of your time at the University of Sydney. For those high achievers among you, our DL Scholars program offers enrichment and mentoring opportunities throughout your degree. No matter what you study with us, you'll have opportunities and support to undertake internships and work placements with industry leaders to ensure you graduate ready for work. Now, whilst this year has been a little bit different due to COVID, we really encourage our students to study abroad. In fact, we have the largest mobility program in Australia where you can complete part of your degree overseas with one of our partner universities or companies. These experiences can be long or short term, and if you're in need of financial support, there are plenty of scholarships and even OS help loans available to help you fund your travel. And remember, we work with you to ensure your experience can count towards your degree, so there's no need for you to choose between studying overseas or graduating on time. So, what sort of experiences can you undertake? Faculties run a lot of their own programs specifically designed for their students. For example, our business school offers 6-week industry placement programs in both the United States and mainland China. The Sydney Law School currently has agreements with 21 law schools across North America, Europe, and Asia. These are just a few examples. There is also the traditional exchange, which perhaps is what you might think of when we talk about an overseas experience. This is usually between 6 months to a year of overseas study with one of our partner universities. And finally, we offer short-term programs such as intensive summer or winter programs, which are quite popular experiences. Some of our real-world project units that I mentioned earlier are also completed overseas. We believe overseas opportunities are an integral part of education, giving our students once-in-a-lifetime experiences and a global perspective. Starting university is an exciting time, but it can also be challenging as it's very different to high school. The University of Sydney is a big place, so we have a range of student support services to help you succeed during your time with us. The Learning Centre provides academic and learning support in the form of resources, workshops, and consultations. These services are designed to develop your skills in areas such as writing and research skills, exam preparation, and presenting. There is also a separate Mathematics Learning Centre to provide support and guidance if you're worried about any mathematical or statistical content required for your studies. We provide professional and confidential psychological and mental health services to students. These are free and available through our counselling and psychological services. We also have a medical centre and other healthcare services such as an optometrist and physiotherapist available right here on campus. Students who require accessibility support can register with our Disability Services team to gain access to adjustments and services to help them succeed in their studies. This includes assessment and exam adjustments, as well as lecture support and access to assistive technology. Finally, university life isn't just about the classes. It's also a chance for you to make lifelong friends, try new things, develop your hobbies and interests, gain leadership skills, and have fun. There are countless opportunities to immerse yourself into our vibrant student life and make the most of your university experience. The University of Sydney Union, or USU, is a big part of what makes our student experience so memorable. One of the few remaining independent student-led organisations in Australia, they organise clubs and societies, as well as events and programs that run throughout the year. We have over 250 clubs and societies, bringing together students to celebrate their culture, indulge in their favourite foods, discuss a fandom, develop a professional network, and much more. There's bound to be one or many of our clubs and societies that interest you, and if not, there's always the option to create your own. If you like to stay active, Sydney Uni Sport and Fitness may appeal to you. They offer everything from competitive training through to lunchtime social sports and group fitness classes. We also have a healthy student media presence on campus. If you're a budding journalist, there's no better place to be. Published since 1929, Honi Soit is the only weekly student publication in Australia. We're also home to Pulp, an online publication, and Surge, our student radio station. You may also wish to get involved with one of the organisations that looks after student interests, such as the USU Board or Student Representative Council, also known as the SRC. The SRC also has a number of collectives that represent student groups that you can be a part of. And finally, did you know that the University of Sydney has its own postcode? We are literally our own suburb and have everything that comes with it. Cafes, music venues, coffee carts, bookstores, and a computer store are just a few of the outlets that make our university feel like a small village. So that's it from me. I hope this short presentation has given you a good overview of what the University of Sydney can offer. Once again, I really encourage you to make the most out of Info Day and all the advice on offer. I would like to wish you the best of luck with your future studies, and I hope to see you on campus next year.
Thank you so much for walking us through all of that, Bridget. And now, touching on some things that Bridget did mention, I wanted to talk you through a little bit about my own experience. First of all, with the Law Society. We've got over 200 clubs and society at the University of Sydney. And personally, I've been very involved with the Law Society and have made some lifelong friends through that, through things like the big social events like the first year law camp, the professional mooting and negotiations programs, and also more informal events like society coffee catch-ups where you can see people and your friends for a little coffee down at the Taste Cafe, which is just below the law school where we're at now. As well, Bridget mentioned exchange. I myself, as I flagged at the very beginning, I was lucky enough to do 6 months in France on exchange in 2019, where I studied finance, which is what my major was in my Bachelor of Commerce. So the reason why I decided to study in France was I got the opportunity to learn subjects that I wasn't able to access at the University of Sydney. For example, in my finance degree, I was doing very technical and academic subjects here, which were very useful for my finance knowledge for when I go into the industry. But on exchange, I was really able to branch out, and I decided to study subjects like European Union law, French language, French culture, and European Union business, which was all kind of related and indirectly touched my finance degree, but it wasn't exactly what I would be able to study at home. And I found that so meaningful, and it helped me expand my worldview beyond what was able to be taught on the grounds of the University of Sydney. The university offers so many scholarships for exchange, so if you're thinking that exchange isn't right for you, if financially or other concerns, I was in the same boat when I started at the university. I actually was really keen on doing an exchange but wasn't sure how I would fund it. But the faculty offered me a $2,000 scholarship, and that's pretty much available to anyone who applies for exchange based on your academic marks, or there are other very specific scholarships that you can apply to. So please remember that exchange is a wonderful opportunity, and I'm sure that by the time that you're at the University of Sydney, the doors will be wide open for an exchange opportunity like I had last year, and I'm super excited to see everyone have that sort of experience like I did. But now, please sit back and relax as we bring a little slice of the University of Sydney to your screens. Here's one of our art students, Emily, to take you on a campus tour around the University of Sydney.
Hi, I'm Emily, and today I'm going to show you around the University of Sydney. There's a lot of history here at the uni, and you can't help but feel part of something bigger when you step on campus. One of the things that I really like about the university is the sense of community that exists here. And I think it's the grounds and the space that really allows that. Students used to play tennis in the middle of the quad right here. Today, this space and the surrounding lawns are a place for teaching, events, lots of great photo opportunities, and of course, hanging out with friends. You can see why this whole place is known as the Oxford of the Southern Hemisphere. And this is the Great Hall, the first and last stop for a lot of students, where we have graduations and welcome new students from overseas. If you look up, you'll see 12 carved wooden angels. They're carrying books and scrolls inscribed with symbols referring to the arts and sciences. There's a lot more history here, like this. This is the Anderson Stewart Building, formerly known as the Old Medical School. This building is home to the university's first human dissection labs. Since then, our network of clinical schools has grown to include 10 major metropolitan and rural teaching hospitals. And it's not just health and medicine with campuses all around. About 70 kilometres that way, you'll find our Camden Farms. Aside from agriculture and vet students getting hands-on with plants, crops and animals, you'll see plenty of wildlife with regular visits from the locals. The uni has 18 farms in New South Wales, spanning over 12,000 hectares. The university's Westmead campus will open its new education and clinical facilities in 2021. In all these places, health students will get to be in real-life clinical settings from their first year. And then there's this. This is the Susan Wakil Building. It brings together all the health disciplines under the one roof. Inside, there are brand new simulation facilities, a multi-service clinic and a rehabilitation gym, as well as teaching, research and support spaces. Speaking of gym spaces, there's no end of sports facilities at the uni. There's the Sports and Aquatic Centre, an indoor climbing centre, tennis courts and squash courts. Any type of sport goes on here, including, of course, Quidditch. The university's facilities are one of the best things about studying here, especially places like this, the Abercrombie Building, one of my favourite study spots and home to our business school. The views of Sydney at the top are also pretty cool.
I find my experience studying at UC very engaging and rewarding. I get to meet people from all over the world and make friends with them. For myself, learning on campus really motivates me to find the areas I'm truly passionate about.
Here's Sydney College of the Arts' brand new facilities. It has traditional fine arts and crafts, film and digital labs. You can create almost anything here, both physical and virtual. Then there's the new multi-purpose Social Sciences Building. Near the Social Sciences Building is Courtyard Cafe. It's a great place to have a drink and catch up with some friends. There's no end to great cafes and shops around campus. And you get to Courtyard Cafe via the legendary graffiti tunnel and a place for creative expression. You can spray paint, write slogans and create street art. It's a UCIT student's rite of passage. Just here, researchers and students are deepening their knowledge of the tiniest things in the universe at the Nanoscience Hub. And this is the Quantum Lab, the clean room, where every 68 seconds, all the air is replaced completely. Not a single stray hair is allowed inside. This is Fisher Library. With around 5.2 million items, the University of Sydney has the largest academic library in the Southern Hemisphere. The library has an incredible range of rare books hidden down here, and I've always loved checking them out. Some of them are over 500 years old. And then there's the facilities for our law students. How's this for a study spot? Or the moot courtroom to prepare for the real deal. But you're probably not coming to uni just to see the books, but to actually do things, make things, experiment. The university has heaps of facilities, workshops and labs for any discipline. Just inside here is one of Australia's best equipped fabrication and prototyping labs. The Design, Modelling and Fabrication Lab, we say DMAF around here, includes a wide range of robotic arms, 3D printers, laser cutters and basically a whole lot of cool stuff. But I better leave it to the experts to use it. You'll get in-the-field experience and interact with new and diverse environments, all without leaving campus.
I love that there are so many cool things that I can use in order to explore my creative side and create these amazing works of art.
Just a few minutes walk along City Road and you'll find the newly built Life, Earth and Environmental Sciences building, home to some of the many science labs we have on campus. Our immersive learning lab is the largest of its kind in Australia. There are several new precincts that are opening soon. This engineering precinct is opening in 2021. It may not be finished just yet, but trust me, it's going to look like this.
I think the best thing about studying engineering at USAID is definitely the fact that you're learning under one of the best faculties in the world and using top-of-the-line infrastructure every day.
This is the Conservatorium of Music, and here you will truly experience the music industry in action. It's home to 5 performance venues like this, the Verbruggen Hall, sound mixing studios, and not to mention some world-class talent. And it's also located right next to the Sydney Botanical Gardens and Sydney Opera House. Pretty incredible.
One of my favourite things about living and studying in Sydney is being able to be so close to the city, but also a bus ride away from the beach. If you want to break from your studies, you can always go to the beach with your friends and have a chill time.
That's what's great about the main campus. It's only a 10-minute bus ride from the centre of Sydney. It's only a 20-minute walk from Central Station to the university as well, so you're pretty much at the centre of everything here. I like to mix it up. Sometimes I get the bus and the train, sometimes I get the ferry if it's a nice day, or I drive. You want to make sure your time at uni is one to remember, and that can start with where you live. There are 2 main kinds of accommodation on the Camperdown Darlington campus. University residences like this one, the Queen Mary Building, or residential colleges. Rich in history and tradition, every college offers a living experience that will let you study and enjoy a busy social calendar. They offer 3 catered meals a day, laundry services, and a strong support network.
I think living on campus has really helped me grow as an individual and have a community, a home away from home. So I'm really grateful for the convenience, the community, and the confidence I have in the staff to help me through my journey.
And your university experience won't be anything without all the incredible opportunities to make friends. There are so many clubs and societies that you can get involved with on campus. I personally, as a media student, have loved getting involved with things like reporting for the student newspaper on Histoire, doing student radio at Surge, and getting involved with the Media and Communications Society. That just scratches the surface of why the University of Sydney is such a great place to pursue your studies and follow your interests. I hope we'll see you on campus soon.
How amazing was that campus tour? And I can assure you, it's just as beautiful in person. Next up, we have my home faculty, the Sydney Law School. We're going to hear from Simon Bronnett, who is the head of the school and the Dean of Law here. He is going to interview some of our Sydney Law School alumni who are going to talk about their journey and about how Sydney Law School has helped shape their career and their network and where that has taken them. Stay tuned.
Nyari Galawagan Mari Budia Gadi Nurda. We meet together on the beautiful Gadi country, and I'd like to pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. As you walk into Sydney Law School, you'll see a plaque. On that plaque, Justice Benjamin Cardozo said, "The law, like the traveller, must be ready for the morrow." I like that sentiment because that sentiment expresses what we're trying to do at Sydney Law School. We're trying to equip our students not only to be legal practitioners today, but also to be equipped for the amazing and diverse careers they pursue tomorrow in their future. The benefits of Sydney Law School are not only that you will get exposed to some of the best legal minds in the teaching staff. Your peers at Sydney Law School are an amazing group of students that come from all over Australia, but also all over the globe. So come with me and let's go and have a chat with those inspiring legal minds.
My name's Kathleen Heath. I graduated from Sydney Law School in 2014 and at the moment I've just started out as a barrister. Before that I was working at the Aboriginal Legal Service over in Perth.
I'm Adam Herman. I'm in the class of 2021, so I'm currently my 4th year here at the University of Sydney. I'm currently a paralegal at Afterpay
Hi, I'm Alex Solo. I'm a graduate of Sydney Uni Law School from 2013. I'm currently the co-founder of Sprint Law, which is an online law firm for startups and small businesses.
Kat,
Yes.
tell me about your background.
So I graduated from Sydney Law School now in 2014, which was like a lifetime ago. So since that time I went over to the US, I did my master's over there. I've worked in the courts, but I've spent most of my time post-university working at the Aboriginal Legal Service in Western Australia.
Adam, tell me a bit about yourself and your journey.
I started here at Sydney Law School back in 2016, which again also feels like a lifetime ago. During my time here, I've been overseas a number of times, which in and of itself is a fantastic experience. I currently work at Afterpay, and I'm about to move into a clerkship at Purpose with Free Hills this summer, so it's very exciting.
Alex, so you have certainly been taking your law in new and innovative directions. Tell me a bit about how you ended up in that way, and what Sydney Law School means to you in that journey.
Graduated back in 2013. When I was at uni, I started like a small side business that I was running, but I had a clerkship at Clayton Utz, so then I went and sort of worked as a technology lawyer for a few years, and the whole time sort of had the entrepreneurial bug that had bitten me from back when I was at uni. In 2017, I sort of left Clayton Utz to start a online tech-enabled law firm for startups and small businesses. What we do is we provide online legal services for small businesses in Australia and recently as well in the UK. And our whole goal is to sort of use technology to automate a lot of the aspects of legal services that are quite routine. And so then we have lawyers still working in the business, but focusing a bit more on the higher order type stuff.
You know, what skills do you think your law degree provided you?
To do what I'm doing now, there is a subject matter element in that it's in the legal industry, and I'm combining both. But it's certainly the case that in many ways you don't realise the impact of the learnings you have at university straight after you graduate. And I think, at the time it was learning about the subjects that I did, getting that sort of subject matter expertise that allowed me to practice as a lawyer. It's been the case that there's a lot of skills that I got at Sydney Law School. Some of them are just work ethic, networking, being able to solve complex problems that are way beyond something you've ever conceptualized before. And that level of sort of excellence that is kind of demanded at Sydney Law School to survive is the same sort of drive that you need to do entrepreneurial stuff when you don't really have a boss, you're just your own boss.
The key thing that comes out of that answer is confidence. Kat, do you have any reflections on that?
Yeah, it helped in an enormous way. It's a great environment because on one hand, I think Alex is right, it does demand excellence and you do work really hard to know that you're at a certain level. But at the same time, it's a very supportive environment. So you could, do badly in a moot and then come back again the next time round and be very supported and have academics who are supporting you and have that safe learning environment. And that means that when you do go out into the real world, so to speak, you've got something behind you.
So it is that, in a sense, creating a safe space where you have permission to fail, but more importantly to learn. I'm sure not much has changed in terms of the demands of the degree. But tell me about what are the things that support you through it?
All about the people. By that I also mean students, in addition to obviously the academic teaching staff. I feel like that camaraderie definitely is there still and always will be.
What advice would you give someone as they're thinking about entering their legal education?
It's about a wider variety of skills, about thinking. The way that law school works at Sydney was very much focused on teaching us to think about the concepts behind whatever things we were learning. Here are some concepts, think about them, think critically about them, and often you find yourself after class a bit inspired and discussing with other students these ideas. And I think I sort of discovered what education was about, really. I would have said to myself, particularly in those early years, that look for something a little bit more here. It's not just about marks, but it's about the whole experience, the people and the environment. At Sydney Law School, it's the case that you're around basically a cohort of just super, super smart people. It really kind of lifts you up, and I think that's another aspect of it.
So Sydney University just provides a great springboard. I think that without my background at Sydney University, I wouldn't have had the further opportunities I did end up having to study over in America. After I finished up at Harvard, I went and worked in St. Louis and got to work at a very grassroots legal organisation there. And just to see a different legal culture and then to have a chance to come back to Australia and look at our legal system and say, are we doing things the best way here? There's so much that we have to learn from other jurisdictions.
You're a current student. Tell me about some of the opportunities that you get.
In my 4 years here at At law school, I've gone overseas 3 times. Those are really distinct, I think, experiences that really sort of punctuate my experience here at university.
How did you fund that? Was there assistance there?
It wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for the support. Every single time I went overseas, I received an automatic scholarship. At the very least, it would pay for my flights, pay for a little bit of my accommodation, and then really all I needed to pay for was, food and other spending money.
We've recently launched in the UK. It's been very useful in terms of adapting a business over there and getting to know how law is done in the UK.
I think that is very much in the Sydney DNA. You should be a traveller, learn about law in different places. Out there in the world, there are perceptions about places like Sydney Law School. What would you say to them about that perception and your experience?
There's a diverse array of people in law school. There's a lot of different people. Often they're the smartest people from all around, various parts of Australia and some from overseas as well. Just in that mix, you get exposure to all kinds of different types of people, and I've made heaps and heaps of lifelong friends from my time at law school who are from all kinds of different backgrounds and all kinds of different personalities, and a lot of them are working in all kinds of different areas that have nothing to do with what you might associate with the sort of elite areas of law.
I think it's really important to realise that law is not and should not be about elitism. We talk about going overseas, but actually there's so much important legal work to be done in Australia. And if people are at the point where they need a lawyer, usually they're not at a good point in their life. There is so much important work to be done. And I think if you want to come to Sydney Law School and use it as a platform to get into practical work on the ground, grassroots work, working in remote parts of Australia, then it's a wonderful way to get into that style of work as well.
Tell me a bit about how you've remained in contact and, as we would now say, network.
Well, it's been actually hugely important to me, sort of doing things far away from the Sydney Law School community. And only recently I came back and started as a barrister back in New South Wales at Morris Byers Chambers. My very first brief was from a friend at law school. Amazing how as soon as I came back to Sydney, it's like the network just sprung into action. It sticks with you. It's a really strong foundation.
I suppose it would be a good question, Alex, to what extent did the cohort provide a good support network?
Network wasn't a thing on my radar as a thing I should be doing. I was making lots of friends, but then I don't think I would have had any of the success I'd had without that network. It feels like I know someone now who's somewhere in every industry. Anytime I need something, I can just kind of look up the network. You see all these young people trying to network with the partners at the big law firms, but they're missing the point. For the rest of their life, it's their peers that are going to be the people they should be in touch with.
Maybe it's a good way to round off the conversation with Adam, and you have not yet chosen your path, where you might end up over the next 10, 20 years.
I think the jobs from 20 years from now aren't going to look anything like the jobs that that we've got today, and you've got to adapt over the next 10 to 20 years. And if there's one thing that I've learned here at law school is the fact that you have to adapt so quickly. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what's out there in the next 20 years and sort of seeing what I can do with my degree.
Thank you to Simon and our Sydney Law alumni, and Adam, who I'm actually studying at law school with at the moment. Something I've definitely learnt through my years of law school and studying commerce is how important it is to meet new people who are in those areas of interest that you might want to pursue later down the track, because they might end up being your role models and mentors for the rest of your career and help you with your personal and professional development for years to come. So next up, we have architecture, design and planning. We're going to be answering questions such as who should study architecture, who should study design computing, and it's going to be coming from our professors and current students in this next video.
Oh, you've been throwing yours away. I've been holding on to mine. All right, we're good to go again.
So we're going? I'm inspired to start again and go through my whole degree again.
No, keep moving. Actually, I think you might have a couple of them. Do you want to tell us about those ones?
I don't want to put that out there. Let's do that again.
Who should study architecture? I suppose someone who has an intrinsic motivation to engage with the way that we think and structure our society, and who likes to solve problems.
Who should study design computing?
Anybody who is interested both in technology and people, how technology can be changed, how technology should be improved. Anyone who's ever used their phone and found an app to be horrifyingly frustrating.
Okay, who should study the Bachelor of Architecture and Environment? This is a fairly diverse degree and it covers a lot of different ground. There's certainly design elements all the way up to urban and regional planning, the social life of cities, policy, and the things that make cities tick.
So why did you decide to study design computing?
I chose to do design computing because I was really interested in technology at school, but I was also doing a lot of art subjects and also some psychology, so it just kind of like blended all into one.
Why did you decide to do Bachelor of Architecture and Environments? I wanted to do the BAE because I have broader interest in the built environment in general. While I'm very much interested in architecture, I also have an interest in urban planning and also the property side of things.
Why did you decide to do architecture? I care a lot about people and the way that people live. For me, I really wanted to make an impact on the world. And what better way of doing that than designing the places where people live?
So why choose the University of Sydney?
I think it definitely fosters a very strong community culture, and also how much the university pushed international opportunities.
There's kind of no other choice. It's the only degree like it in New South Wales, in Sydney.
Really no other programs that do what we do at the undergraduate level. There are a couple of places you can come back and get a master's that brings these different things together, technology, design, people, but not an undergrad.
No better place to be.
Yeah.
What do you think are the best parts of the course?
It gives you an insight into the cities.
How exciting all the new and emerging technologies are, and getting your hands on all that technology and the design work, and just being able to do something so out of the box at uni is really fun.
The fact that we have such easy access to such state-of-the-art technologies.
And the fact that in your first year you get to do a lot of the same classes with the same people it's really hard to find at university, and it's been a really great social experience for most people, I'd say.
There's no way I could have gotten through this degree without the support of all my friends and the tutors as well. Oh, I don't want to disappoint my tutor. Like, I need to make sure that I have enough work prepared.
The way it works is everybody learns a bunch of skills in the first year, technology skills, understanding design, digital media skills, and then the rest of the course really centers around these large studios in which you get to apply your knowledge and actually practice design. And that's what brings everybody together into the same room.
What happens in weekly tutorials? So it starts out with a general briefing. After that, we get to the point with desk crits, beating heart of the architecture degree, really, isn't it? It's the desk crit, that's what it's all about.
Every single week you have to have completed work. You can't show up to class empty-handed, and so you want to keep showing them that you have new work.
It's a one-on-one discussion with your tutor, where your tutor has 100% attention on you, discussing where to go from here.
First off, it can seem very intimidating, but then you realize that you're spending, like 20 minutes one-on-one with your tutor, and then the rest of the time you can go see what your peers are up to, have some time down in the fabrication labs, making things. So I think it keeps you on track a lot.
Yeah, no, it really does.
Yeah.
How do I choose between the two built environment degrees?
Great question.
Great questions. For the BAE, it's for people who have a broader interest in the built environment in general, so very interested in urban planning or how the city works. If you have a broader interest but also unsure where you want to be in the built environment, BAE is a great degree for you.
It's a really good degree that gives you a lot of other options for different pathways out of it.
So the BDES is more targeted towards what we would probably consider conventional architects.
What career opportunities are there if you study a Bachelor of Design Computing?
So we have people become interaction designers, creative technologists, user experience researchers. We have some folks go into digital marketing, some folks go into digital media, some folks go into business strategy or creative leadership area. But I think the vast majority of folks who go through our program end up working in interaction design or user experience. So that's the design of interactive products or services.
Of course, you can be an architect, you can be an urban and regional planner. There's also jobs in urban design. A lot of the big consultancy firms now want students who are graduating to have a very diverse range of skills. So this is a very diverse degree that gives you a lot of good employment options.
It does broaden your perspectives and your career prospects, and it gives you a really good solid foundation if you want to pursue Masters in Urban Planning, for example, or Master of Architecture.
Does the university have any industry connections?
So we make industry connections a big part of both our educational programs and our sort of extracurricular additions.
We're running industry events all the time. They come in, they teach in our classes, we go on placements, we go on field trips. So I think one of the best things about Sydney and our school is how well connected we are to industry.
Which really helps build both confidence in our students and their ability to solve challenging real-world problems, and also their own networks of contacts and industry folks who they can then connect with further on.
What is presentation day like?
Well, you should know, you just had one.
I did. I had my last one last week.
That's right.
Presentation day is it's a flurry, very hectic. There's a lot happening. But then once everything gets pinned up, once all the models are displayed, I think there's this real sense of pride that each student has, because it's the work that you're presenting is what you've been working on for about 15 weeks. So it's really, really exciting to show that off to all your peers and to also look at what all your peers have been doing, because you'll also see the development of everyone's project throughout the semester.
All right, this is a big one. What is the graduate exhibition?
So short answer, we have a big party. You finish your work, you put your projects up. We're often putting it together into sort of an exhibition.
We display all our projects to the industry, family and friends and public.
With sort of curated components. Then we have food and drink and a big opening night.
And it's also a good way of connecting with industry. So industry comes, they look at students' work, and I think people get jobs out of grad show.
I have friends who got jobs out of grad show.
I remember when I was working at a firm at the end of last year, they were all talking about, oh, are you going to the UCID one?
Yeah, exactly.
They're also usually alumni. They definitely want to take a peek, see how everyone's going as well.
Yeah.
How does the portfolio pathway work?
Anything showcasing your skills in creative thinking and problem solving.
Something that demonstrates your design skills and interest in this degree.
You submit that portfolio to the university and you can get some adjustment factors to help lower the ATAR for you.
So check out the website for that. Are there any scholarships available?
So university-wide, there are a lot of scholarship programs. There are various different equity programs if you need a bit of help getting to the university. There are the Elite Athlete Program, a bunch of sporting-focused scholarships. Then there's also a whole bunch of merit scholarships for some very high-achieving students.
Put the rest of them down. It's too heavy. Oh, this is the last one.
Are there any exchange opportunities?
So we really heavily support students taking exchange and mobility opportunities.
I did 2 in my final year, believe it or not. 2 weeks in Vanuatu, that was really fun, building a school.
I actually travelled to the Tokyo University of Arts. We did a 1-week intensive studio there. So we did our site visits in the streets of Tokyo. In 1 week, had to come up with a project, which was exhausting.
That was cool.
Yeah, but very rewarding.
And then I went to Vietnam. That was super fun. I get to meet friends from all over Australia. There was 15, 16 of us.
So you can pretty much go almost anywhere on the university's very large list of mobility partners and study almost anything. We think that when you're working in design and your expertise is in understanding technology and people, the list of things that could possibly be useful is effectively endless.
International travel is so important for architecture.
It does help to plan ahead. Think about your exchange options early in your program so that you can plan out your progression. But once you've done that, the world's your oyster. Unless that's too cheesy, you can cut that out.
The world's your oyster.
What an amazing segment, and there's no doubt that the world is your oyster. If you're just tuning in from home, we've got some great questions coming through on the Q&A chat box that you can see down below. So if you have any questions yourself, please do leave them down below and a professional staff member will be getting back to you as soon as they can. Now we're going to be moving on to those of you who are interested in the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. Did you know that the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences is our founding faculty? The faculty is also known for being number 20 in the world for education and number 22 in the world for arts and humanities, which I think is so cool. We now have a couple of segments from the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. We have an alumni panel discussing how the degree has shaped their career and where they're at now. Then I'll be chatting with one of our professional staff members, answering all things arts. But first up, I'd really like to introduce you to our Dean of Arts and Social Sciences, Professor Anna Marie Jargos. If you're interested in studying arts, tune in as she talks about the incredible opportunities that an arts degree can offer you and what the degree at the University of Sydney entails.
Hi, I'm Professor Anna Marie Jargos. I'm the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. If you're thinking of doing an arts degree, I'm here to tell you why that's a really smart decision. Why would you do an arts degree at the University of Sydney? We've been training arts graduates for more than 150 years. We're very good at what we do. When you study with us, you join a really long historic tradition that's informed by incredibly contemporary values. You will be taught by the leading researchers in the areas that you choose to study in. We offer more than 45 distinct areas of study. That's among the greatest in Australia. You can choose amongst those. You have incredible ability to be flexible in how you put together your package of study. You could enrol in economics and philosophy, or you might be interested in government and international relations and back that up with a language. You might decide to do a creative arts practice, painting, sculpture perhaps, and a much more practically oriented qualification in something like history or English. We used to think quite narrowly about training and what kinds of jobs it led to. What's the point of studying anthropology? What's the point of studying philosophy? And that's really outmoded thinking. The point is that in studying those disciplines, you acquire a huge range of highly valued skills that are valued more now in our contemporary workplaces than ever before, particularly in the last decade where we've seen so much change in the world of work. We've seen automation, digitisation, artificial intelligence really turning workplaces on their heads. Employers are looking for people who can think for themselves, people who can problem solve creatively and think their way through complex situations. And those are the graduate attributes of arts students. There's a bit of a myth that arts graduates don't get jobs, or they don't get jobs that are related to their qualifications. What we can actually see is the evidence on the ground. 2/3 of the graduates that go into the workforce every year are arts graduates. Arts graduates get jobs in higher proportion than science graduates. When you graduate with an arts degree from the University of Sydney, you join an amazing graduate network in a range of different employment sectors, including the media, government and politics, education, corporate worlds, finance companies, and even startups. Take Adam Jacobs, for example, the founder and director of Australia's largest online retailer, The Iconic. He's a philosophy graduate. He comes from the University of Sydney, and he's actually called out the skills that he learned in philosophy as being an essential part of his success in the business world. We're very proud at the University of Sydney to be able to claim that our graduates are the most highly employable in the country. For the last 4 years, we've been ranked number 1 in Australia for graduate employability. We work hard at graduate employability. Even when you are studying with us, you will already be experiencing real-world employment context through internships and community projects. Industry community projects are opportunities for you to study in teams with students from right across the university, partnered with big companies, to focus on real-world problems that demand solutions. Things like the war on waste, social housing, and data privacy. These projects give you an opportunity to test and apply some of the core skills that you've learned in your arts degree. Skills like creative decision-making and problem solving, high communication skills, cross-cultural competency, all explored in a professional context, which is really, really valuable before graduation. These experiences are the things that make you job ready, and they're the things that make us the number 1 for graduate employability in Australia.
How wonderful is it to hear what makes studying arts at the University of Sydney so unique? So now you've heard from the Dean, you've heard from current students and alumni. Now we've got a professional staff member, so we're going to be welcoming Pavel Thank you so much for joining me today. I've got a couple of questions to help some of our students who are currently in high school listening from home who might be interested in studying arts at the University of Sydney or generally in the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. So I might begin with a question that kind of touches on some of the worries that students might face. So what are some of the biggest concerns that you often learn students have about transitioning from high school, and what kind of support does the faculty provide?
Absolutely. So as a previous student myself, I'm a graduate of the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. I think one of the biggest worries that students have is finding your own place here. So transitioning from high school into the university, into this real big world, finding your own place, finding your kind of people and finding your passion, what it is that you really want to study. At the University of Sydney, we have a range of different support initiatives here, especially at the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. We have a fantastic mentoring program that I have also gone through as a student here. So in your first year, you will be paired up with a senior mentor and a group of other students, which is a fantastic way to meet people here before you start officially studying with us at the University of Sydney. One of the other things that are so great about studying at the university and in the faculty is also the range of clubs and societies available. You can really find your own crowd here and you can explore your passions, you can find your interests. In particular, the Sydney Arts Student Society is where I met my people. It is one of the largest societies on campus that has a range of professional initiatives, networking, but also fun activities like camping. So you'll certainly find your own place here, and finally, we have fantastic partnerships in place as well as career support, both at the faculty and university level that will really help you not just find your place in the world, but also make that connection between your skills and what it is that you want to bring to the real world, make that connection with the employment sector.
Oh, awesome. Well, kind of bouncing off of that idea of what you do after you graduate and employability, I know some students might have concerns about what they do after an arts degree, and I did want to ask you what the partnerships look like when it comes to placements and internships within the faculty, and kind of when students should start thinking about these sorts of opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the great things about studying in our faculty is the number of partnerships available. In fact, in some degrees, internships are embedded. So you look at media and communications, where students get to apply their skills to real-world practice by undertaking an internship in their last year. Then we also have degrees in the School of Education and Social Work, where students are able to go on placements and go into classrooms and teach before they graduate. So what that means is that they will have that experience working in the field before they graduate and go on and work in their jobs or pursue their careers. We also have the Arts Career Program that offers internships to students based on what it is that they're passionate about and what they're studying. And those internships can actually count towards your degree. And we also have a range of fantastic initiatives by the schools and departments. For example, the one I was extremely lucky to undertake was by the United States Study Center. And my internship took me to the Washington, DC, United States, where I worked in public affairs for the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. If not for the University of Sydney, I would have never found myself, working in the United States, especially in March of this year when Donald Trump was about to not get re-elected, and being in the midst of all that. It's not something that I expected when I came to the University of Sydney. I live in Australia, like, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? But no, the University of Sydney has so many fantastic opportunities, and the one that I took based by the United States Study Center, I think it really changed my world, and I encourage all the students here that are either thinking about studying here or considering internships and placements to really just go for it.
So I guess there's really no concern about the plethora of internships and opportunities that students have within the Faculty of Arts. But another question that students might have is whether any of the degrees within the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences lead to an accreditation.
Yeah, absolutely. We have quite a few degrees, namely the degrees within the School of Education and Social Work, so the teaching degrees as well as the Bachelor of Social Work and combined degrees are actually accredited, and students that study with us will have the opportunity to go on and become accredited teachers or accredited social workers. We also have the new Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Advanced Studies, languages degree that has recently been accredited for translation as well. as well as the Bachelor of Economics, which is actually accredited for accounting. There is a sequence of units that you need to undertake, but certainly you can also even become an accountant by studying a degree in the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences.
Wow, that's so broad. And in this is an even broader question. It might be very difficult to answer, but what can students actually study within the Bachelor of Arts, and what sort of work will students be qualified to do once they graduate?
Yeah, absolutely. So Bachelor of Arts is probably one of the most diverse degrees in Australia. It's actually the first degree in Australia, period. But in the Arts and Social Sciences faculty and in the Bachelor of Arts, you can study majors within arts and humanities. So there are subjects like philosophy, English, visual arts, and many more. And then we have the social sciences. So the subjects that look about the idea of being human, and they take a scientific approach to our society and culture. So you look at subjects like economics, politics, and international relations. We even have international and global studies. In terms of the skills and careers, of course, our Bachelor of Arts graduates and students learn how to communicate effectively. A Bachelor of Arts degree is a degree that is based on argument and convincing others. And this is something that the skill that will take students far in their career. A LinkedIn report, a 2019 LinkedIn Careers report has identified that nowadays companies value students and graduates that have those communication and creativity skills, but also cultural empathy, and those are the core skills of an arts and social sciences graduate.
I think I'm even finding that in my own experience with internships and kind of business and finance. There are a lot more art students nowadays, and even STEM students, not just your business typical background, who are like employers really enjoy the skills that art students have developed, and that's I think what you're touching on here.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. It's all about bringing the different perspective and bringing your creativity, and of course also being able to convince others of your point and your argument is something that is extremely valuable to a corporate organization, and something that we really teach our students.
And just kind of to round everything off, what kind of advice would you offer current students that are thinking about pursuing their studies in arts and social sciences, but they're not sure of whether they're going to be coming to Sydney?
Absolutely. So a lot of our students coming to the University of Sydney sometimes wonder or question whether this is the right place for them. I was certainly in that place as well. I didn't come from a private school. I'm not a college kid. I'm not a selective school kid. I was just a child. I was a student who was essentially coming from an immigrant family, and I was really scared of the University of Sydney and the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. We are ranked #1 in Australia for most of our areas in arts and social sciences, and obviously I knew that this university is very competitive and everyone here is amazing, and you go in your classroom and you have people next to you and you just know that they are going to achieve so many great things. I've now graduated, and one of the students with whom I went to the arts camp with is now the advisor to Prime Minister Scott Morrison, right? The other student is now working in PwC Japan doing amazing things around digital transformation. So of course my advice would be to be confident and know that you will fit in and you find your place here. Certainly I didn't feel too confident coming here, but I just knew that this place was right for me and I just went along with it. Previously, I didn't think that I was worthy of the amazing opportunities that are presented to the University of Sydney students, and that students go on and take. But as you persevere, as you work on yourself, as you improve yourself, and as you really pursue your studies in the area that you're passionate about, of which we have around 50 majors, we have the largest range of subjects available in arts and humanities, so you can definitely find yourself here. As you go on and as you become more confident in yourself, you will achieve amazing things. There is no ceiling, and especially to everyone here that is listening to me, you're extremely young. You're probably around 18 years old. Some of you are mature age students, which is also fine. You have so many years ahead of you and so many opportunities. There is no ceiling to what you can achieve, and the University of Sydney is the place for you if you want to go on and do great things, but only if you're confident and if you believe in yourself. And if not, there is a range of support here available with mentoring, with many of the careers and internship programs and initiatives as well that will build you up to be a successful graduate that will go on and change the world.
Pavel, that was so inspiring. Thank you so much for all of that advice. I'm sure everyone at home is feeling a lot more kind of secure about their choice. Their preference is closed tonight, so I really think that would dispel a lot of worries for students thinking about studying arts at the University of Sydney, and I'm really grateful that you've been able to sit down with me here today. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day and have a really happy holidays and New Year.
It was a pleasure and good luck to everyone.
Thank you.
When I left school, I wasn't actually sure 100% what I wanted to do, but I really enjoyed my English and history subjects at school and was interested in travelling. So I decided to do international and global studies because it kind of offered all of that for me. And I decided to ultimately study something that I enjoyed and was super interested in rather than pursuing something that was recommended to me, like a commerce degree.
I actually started off in a Bachelor of Psychology, which was just like not for me. I loved English and history too. In high school, I got in through a Future Leaders scheme, and I was doing arts electives, English and history, and I loved them so much more. Like going to psych classes was a bit of a challenge, whereas going to my other classes, it was just like fun. I loved my professors, I loved what I was studying. So then at the end of my first year, I decided to make the change, and I talked over it with my parents, and my dad, he studied here too. He was a bit questioning, like, how are you going to get a job? How is all that going to pan out? Are you sure this is what you want to do? So that was a big question for my degree as I just kept studying.
Why do you think your dad was apprehensive about the employability of the degree?
But I think just because, arts degrees have that reputation sometimes, like, there's all these jokes about like, you're going to be unemployed, like why are you studying arts? Whereas the things that people worry about is actually more like it's an advantage, it's flexible, you learn how to do so much more.
Yeah, I was about to say that actually because opposite, my dad actually does, he did a commerce degree and he's in finance, and he found that actually there's almost too many people doing that at the moment. So he looked at the degree I was doing and then the jobs that I've landed because of it and said, oh, hey, I actually think you're a little bit more adaptable in the workforce because you're not too specific.
Yeah.
So it actually works in your advantage as well. Emma, what's an industry and community project?
So in ICPU, it's scheduled like a normal class. I think something's come in since you've left probably. Yeah, it's quite new. They're like normal classes, except they're not. You go in, you have a supervisor who's kind of like a tutor, but they're more just like a liaison between this like real world company and then a group of students from all over the university, like different degrees, not even just art students. Like I had commerce students, I had someone doing computer science, just like crazy mix, but and we work together on a real world problem that's posed to us by like an organization. Sometimes it's government, sometimes it's more corporate. And we, instead of having like tests or whatever, we write our solution to this problem. It's like a real project.
Oh wow, it's all group work based?
Yeah, all of it. So it's a challenge, but it's like really cool, yeah. Because we're from all over the university, like so many different opinions, so many different styles of just thinking. There wasn't like any fights or anything, but there was tension sometimes because we all knew how we thought, how our degree was expected to run, how we were trained to think in that way. And so the big takeaway was learning not just this project, it was how do you work with other people?
Yeah, which is so important later on.
Exactly, yeah, you would know. And specifically how your arts degree is gonna, for me, how my arts degree really set me up for that, I think more than a lot of other less flexible degrees.
I think that's actually really interesting because in the last 3 jobs that I've had, they've all been super diverse and different, but in saying that, you're constantly working with different people from different teams, different strengths, different weaknesses, and most of the time you're working on group projects in a work environment. And so I think it's really important to be able to be that person, and that's something that arts has definitely helped me with, because you are that middleman that brings everyone's thoughts together and can cohesively take it to a stakeholder or solve a problem.
So what's your role now?
Currently I'm at Amazon and I'm doing business development. And so in that, basically day to day for me, it looks like working with heaps of different companies and brands to try and get as many products onto the Amazon platform. So in that you have a lot of different stakeholders involved. You have the people that you're working with day to day, your team. You have finance because you're looking at budget and meeting goals. But you also have the sales team that you're constantly working with, but then you're also working with outside parties. So I think that that's then really interesting because you have to meet like a consensus between what your objectives are and what the company's objectives are that you're working with, which can be really hard at times. But I think when you have that skill set, you know, or at least you learn to manage that better.
So what does that look like day to day?
Day to day is interesting. You have consistently some things that you do and then a lot of ad hoc requests that come up. So for example, typically in a day I have a lot of opportunities coming to me about brands that we currently don't have on the platform or that customers are really keen to get on board or are looking for. And so I have a lot of leads that come to me that I reach out to see if they want to be on our platform. So that's at least the start of the relationship. If they're interested, then typically we take them through the onboarding journey, we get them set up on site and we train them. So that's basically what my day-to-day looks like. And as you can imagine, there's obviously different companies at different stages along the different pipelines. So I'm constantly managing the different stages that they're all at.
The skills that you learnt in arts, like what are the ones that you're really relying on day to day? Like how are they coming across?
Yeah, I definitely think problem solving is one of the biggest ones, and that's something that we learn in our degree, as you know, because we're looking at things that have happened in the past, things that are currently happening, and trying to foresee things that are happening in the future. And I think so we're trying to look and analyse what's happened and help it in the outcome that we're doing. So I think that just even like the fact that we had to write really theoretical essays and things like that set you up for not necessarily writing an essay in a workforce, but the thinking that you use is how we solve problems. And problems come up all the time.
The biggest thing I've learnt is that joke that, you know, arts degrees aren't employable is like the complete opposite. They're one of the most employable.
That's great.
When you actually do the project, you have an industry partner, so mine was Randstad. You go in and you meet them and they meet you, and there's back and forth. So they came to campus a couple times. We went to see them in their office, which was really cool. And the first time we had a meeting after we'd gotten the problem given to us, my team, we brainstormed our answers. We came up with a mini presentation. And because I'm an arts degree, I'm quite comfortable with public speaking, like, whereas
yeah, you have to be.
You have to be, yeah. Or you learn the skill throughout.
Absolutely.
Either way. So I was, you know, pretty comfortable going up. And it was kind of like Shark Tank and just telling them our ideas. And then I made a joke at the end of the presentation, like, and I'm an arts degree, so I'm prepared for unemployment, like it'll be fine.
What'd they say?
Everyone laughed, which was, you know, a bit of a good because, you know, nerves went down.
Absolutely.
But then as soon as that, I had like 4 of the different heads. The CEO was there, which was awesome. And they all told me like one by one, don't, you know, think that it's not true. We employ so many arts graduates because you have that flexibility. Like, it's just a good degree in terms of what CEOs, companies are looking for because they can train you on the specifics. They need to know you can think and you can, you know, think critically, independently.
So what happened after you did the pitch and you finished the unit?
Yeah, so after we did the unit, the big project was out of the way. It was like such a relief. It was just going to present it was kind of like the cherry on top. Like we got to show off what we'd done. And that was another sort of Shark Tank moment. And they were so lovely. Like they told us what they thought. They gave us critique, but like really constructive, really encouraging, telling us what we'd done right. And like they do actually use your ideas, I found out after.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's cool
when I was
to know.
working there, they take it all on board. So we did that. And then afterwards, it was a little bit of like networking, which is not really my strong suit. So that was something I was still learning too. And one of the girls in my team, she was so lovely. She was from the United States. And she was talking to the head of communications at Randstad. And he told her, his name's Charlie, he's great, that they were looking for a new comms intern. And she waved me over and she said, you should meet Emma. Like, she's obviously a domestic student, she studies English. And so she introduced me and it was really cool because I knew if I hadn't really done the work as a team, if I hadn't, you know, pulled my own weight, if I hadn't been friendly, if I hadn't been the connector who was trying to get everyone to work together, I wouldn't have had that friendship with her that then led me to meeting Charlie and getting the internship.
Which is like informal networking.
Yeah, basically everything's networking. Yeah, and so I met Charlie and that was awesome. And he was talking to me about, you know, my arts degree and I told him, you know, I've never studied communications, is that fine? And he said that they were really just looking for someone who knew how to write, who knew how to, you know, see patterns, basically everything.
Which is like what we do in our degree,
Yeah.
like the essay writing.
Exactly, checklist of arts degrees. And I was like, oh, sweet. So I sent in my resume, had a quick interview and got the internship, which was awesome.
That's really great. How long was the internship for?
So it was 6 months.
That's really good. That's a long one,
Yeah, it
actually.
was a chunky one. Yeah, it was 6 months. The first 3 were in the office and then the last 3 COVID hit. So I got a bit of working from home and a bit of in office, which was really good. I think at the time I wasn't happy about it because, you know, COVID.
You want the full experience as well.
Yeah, but I think it was like crash course in, you know, how to deal with not only me working from home as an employee, but Randstad's HR. So it's how to respond as a huge company to something like that, a lot of like crisis communications, just helping a lot of quick changes really fast, which really made me learn a lot really fast. I was really surprised with how much they trusted me to just like do my own thing. Like I thought there would be a bit more restriction on what I was, you know, able to do. But I was coming up with content calendars, I was writing articles and publishing, managing social media, all sorts of things that I think unexpected. I think that are unexpected for someone who's still in their degree to be able to have the freedom to do.
For sure.
So I learned a lot about that really fast. And then obviously writing articles, researching, HR was still quite new to me. Those are all things I learned in my arts degree, how to do day to day. It was kind of like, you know, each little thing I published was an assignment, like do the research, publish it, write it, get it all checked, which was really cool. So I did learn specific skills like that over the 6 months. And then the other thing I just learned was confidence, like, because I could see who was getting hired. It was HR and I saw a lot of arts graduates and I still had people encouraging me every day, like, you can learn this specific skill, but you've got the foundation to go ahead and take it to the next level.
And what did you learn from a applicant perspective on how to best apply for jobs?
Yeah, so
coming from that background.
The biggest thing is really obviously emphasize your strengths. Take confidence out of the fact that your degree is so flexible if you're an arts student.
Yeah.
And that, like, the possibilities, there are so many things that people just don't think of. And just, yeah, try and get some experience while you're at university if you can, is a big thing. Yeah.
I really wish I could have done a unit like that when I was at university.
Yeah, I think they're amazing. Like, even just, you don't even need the internship. If you do the unit, you've got experience already. What advice do you have for anyone thinking about coming and doing an arts degree at USyd?
I think if you're definitely considering it, do it. I think, but you know, what I was mentioning before is just do things that you enjoy and that you're passionate about. So the good thing about an arts degree and specifically international and global studies like we both did was that you can really funnel in the type of major that you do. So, Emma, I'm not sure what majors you did, but I did government and international relations as well as international business.
I did English and history.
Oh, that's right, yes. So very diverse. See what I mean? So you do such an overarching degree that have their core subjects that are quite broad, but a really good baseline for everything else that you're doing. But then when I did government and international relations, I was able to gain exposure into some really interesting subjects. Like I did a US politics subjects and I'm not super passionate about politics, but it now gives me such a good understanding of the US election that
Especially
just happened.
now, yeah.
So it's really like worldly knowledge that you have exposure to. And then I decided to do international business because I was contemplating doing commerce and I wasn't really sure. So that gave me that lens that ultimately really helps my role that I'm in now. So I'll definitely just say an international and global studies student, no two are alike. And that really depends on just pursuing what you're interested in because ultimately you'll do really well in that.
Up next, we have our Associate Dean from Engineering, Tim Wilkinson, with 3 of our students to discuss women in STEM. And after that, we'll have Adele and Jack right on this couch to talk all things engineering. So keep it locked and stay tuned.
Welcome everyone. Thanks for dropping by. My name's Tim Wilkinson. I'm the Associate Dean Student Life in the Faculty of Engineering. And I'm joined today by 3 of our really great students. We've got Alex, Elle, and Emma. Hi, thanks for dropping in, and I'm really glad that we're able to have this conversation virtually over the internet. Now, Alex, you're doing a combined degree with biomedical engineering and commerce. Perhaps you could share with us, why did you decide to study with us here at Sydney?
Ultimately, I chose the biomedical engineering degree because it combines my interests of both maths, physics and problem solving, but also, I guess, a deep desire to make tangible change and help people. I chose to study this at Sydney, given we have the largest biomedical engineering faculty in the Southern Hemisphere, which obviously brings both talented academics and strong industry partners. But for me, the biggest decision was the vibrant student community we have.
And over to you, Elle. You're doing mechatronics space as your engineering degree, teamed up with advanced science. Why did you come to study at Sydney?
Thanks, Tim. I came to Sydney University for many reasons. First and foremost, I love space and wanted to do space engineering, and USyd was the only university in Australia to offer it as a major. Initially, I wasn't sure what stream would be right for me, but I chose mechatronics engineering because it seemed like a very interesting intersection of electronic, computer, and mechanical engineering that is only going to become more and more relevant to our society. I decided to combine my engineering degree with a physics degree because spending one extra year studying to get a whole other degree seemed like a great option. And it was. Physics has allowed me to more deeply understand and appreciate some of those key scientific principles that make engineering possible. Similarly, studying mechatronics can put you in a position to change the world, and being able to use technology for the benefit of others and the planet was very important to me. Outside of class, there were over 200 fun and interesting student societies I was keen to get involved in. The atmosphere and the campus was wonderful, and there just seemed to be so many opportunities for growth, such as overseas exchange, which I did last year in Scotland, as well as research experiences and specialised academic programs. Choosing Sydney University was a gut decision, and I'm very grateful to my 18-year-old self for taking the time to research all of these different things and ultimately find the best university for me and my goals.
And Emma, you've decided to put together project management with chemical and biomolecular engineering. Could you give us a few words about the reason you decided to study that particular degree?
Yes, that's right. So in high school, I really enjoyed studying maths and chemistry, but I also had an interest in design and problem solving. So a degree in chemical engineering combines all of these aspects. I also really wanted to study in an area which led me to opportunities to work to improve sustainability within Australia and around the world by working in areas such as alternative energies, water treatment and waste management. By combining the chemical engineering degree with project management, it allows me to diversify my skills and potentially move into a leadership or management role within my chemical engineering future.
Now, I've noticed that all three of you are involved with lots of different extra academic activities and also a lot of co-curricular activities in lots of your student groups. And I want to know a little bit about that. So, Emma, what have you found most special about studying here at Sydney?
Here at the University of Sydney, the engineering community is so welcoming and there are so many opportunities to meet new people. I've been involved in the Chemical Engineering Society since I started my degree here, and through this I've met so many like-minded people who have become close friends of mine. There's always something going on amongst the engineering societies at USyd, from free lunchtime barbecues to online trivia social nights, industry seminar talks, and the Chemical Engineering Society even hosts an interstate trip, which I was lucky enough to get to go on last year. On this trip, we did lots of site visits of chemical engineering plants, including a wastewater treatment plant, a recycling facility, and a brewery. This was a great way to see all of the vast opportunities that a chemical engineering career can lead to.
And how about you, Elle? What do you think's quite special about your studying here in this great faculty with all of your friends?
Tim, special is a great word to describe studying here, and I think I've got a very similar answer to Emma. The students in the engineering faculty here are great and have been one of my favourite parts about university. Over the past 4 years, my fellow engineers have really become like family to me by this point, and there's such a wonderful, fun and supportive environment here. A lot of engineers work together at P&R Library, which is kind of like a common room. And even when I don't have class, I still come in because I like to study and hang out with everyone. An engineering degree takes a lot of work, but doing it alongside like-minded, hardworking and inspiring people makes it incredibly enjoyable and rewarding. In engineering, we have 15 dedicated student societies that continuously plan a variety of social and academic events every year, from trivia nights and barbecues to balls and harbour cruises, even coding hackathons and rocketry competitions. You can get involved with whatever suits you and also join the committees of each society and help organise events. In my second year, I was an event director of the Mechatronics student organisation, where I helped plan many breakfasts, fun events like engineering Olympics and networking nights. If the social opportunities at a university is a factor for you, then know that the engineering students here have got that well and truly covered, I think. In my first year, I was pretty nervous because I arrived knowing nobody and the university just seemed so huge. Luckily, every year the older engineering students ran a first-year camp in the very first week of university, where you get to meet and know some of your cohort. By my second week, I felt that I had met so many great people already, many of whom I'm still really good friends with today.
And finally, to you, Alex, you've done a great number of activities in your degree. What's been the most special thing that you've done over the last 5 years?
I think one of the fondest memories of my degree as a biomedical student was participating in the MedTech Innovation Awards at Westmead Hospital. So for this, groups of students come together to design a novel medical device according to a brief. It's very similar to being in like a tech startup where you design the device, build a prototype, then consider the regulatory considerations as well as a business model. Throughout the whole time, we were mentored by our lecturers as well as some of the clinical partners that the university has to ultimately present our ideas to an experienced industry panel of judges. Although it was such a steep learning curve for me, the unparalleled learning opportunities for that course is something I'll really remember my degree by.
Now, of course, in our degrees, you do get hands-on experience with a lot of opportunities outside the university walls. Elle, could you talk about some of the things that you've done? I understand that you're in the Rocketry Club. What are some of the fantastic things you've done there with those students?
The rocketry team at Sydney University have done some pretty incredible things. I was a year representative in my first and second year and also worked on the flight computer. Being on the team included fun road trips into regional New South Wales to launch our rockets alongside other university teams. And last year, the team made history as the first Australian team to compete in the Spaceport America Cup. And they even took out first place in their category, which is just phenomenal. Like rocketry, there's heaps of hands-on opportunities here at USyd for those who want to challenge themselves beyond the classroom. For example, there's also a robotics club and a motorsport club that compete in competitions. In addition, there are also multiple opportunities to do real research with professors, and I've been able to work on some really interesting projects from mini satellites to black holes. In your final year of engineering, you can apply for an Engineering Sydney Industry Placement Scholarship, also known as ESIPS, where you undertake a research project with an industry partner working full-time. I've recently been awarded the ESIPS opportunity to spend 6 months next year at NASA JPL in California. Over there, I will complete my thesis on advanced autonomous robotic navigation of extreme terrains that one day could be extended for space exploration. NASA has been my dream since high school, and I just feel so grateful to the university for facilitating such an exciting and pivotal opportunity.
Alex, now I know as part of your biomedical degree, you've been offered a great opportunity as part of our ESIPS program. Could you tell us a little bit about what you've been doing in your work with Cochlear while you've still been enrolled in engineering?
Just like Elle, I was lucky enough to complete the ESIPS program over at Cochlear, in my penultimate year whilst I was completing my honours thesis. I was placed within a mechanical engineering team who was developing a brand new implant to be released in approximately 10 years' time. My role within the team was to design all the surgical tools to be used in the implantation surgery in the future worldwide release of the implant. It was such an incredible experience, and I recommend all students to apply.
And Emma, I know that you've had some great opportunities studying your chemical and biomolecular degree. Could you share some of those experiences with us?
Sure. So in my third year, I had the opportunity to do a week of work experience in industry organised by the School of Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering. I was placed at Opal Paper and Recycling Mill in Botany with 3 other students to work on a real-life project in the plant. Our project involved taking samples around the plant, analysing historical data from the paper mill system, liaising with operators and staff, as well as taking safety precautions around the plant. At the end of the week, we had to present our findings and provide potential solutions to the problem. This was a great way to get some experience early on and to put 2.5 years of study into practice. It is also compulsory for all engineering students to complete PEP, or the Professional Engagement Program. This is a series of hours that you log, including non-engineering activities and engineering-focused activities. This is a great way to encourage students to get out and start working on engineering projects wherever possible, as well as developing their interpersonal skills such as communication, teamwork, and leadership. This has personally led me to look into internship opportunities from as early as second year onwards.
Thanks a lot, everyone. I'm really glad that we've had Alex, Elle, and Emma share some of the great things that they've been doing here at Sydney. We're really proud of them and all of our students, and we really hope that we can welcome you on campus or remotely as soon as possible. Thanks, everyone.
Hey guys, my name's Adele and I've just finished my third year of a Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering majoring in Space Engineering, combined with a Bachelor of Science majoring in Mathematics. And I'm here with Jack.
Hi, I'm Jack. I've just finished my 4th year of a Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering majoring in Space Engineering and Advanced Science in Physics.
So we're studying very similar things, just the maths and physics kind of differentiating us. We're a year apart, but we thought we'd compare our experience at USyd and kind of our experience in the classroom and outside of the classroom along the way. So I guess we'll start with the beginning of our journeys. How did you come to choose engineering and space engineering in particular, Jack?
Yeah, good question. So I suppose I've always been interested since I was quite small in putting things together and how things worked. So I've always been minded in that sort of technical sense, if that makes sense. So engineering is quite a natural choice, and mechanical engineering, specifically dealing with mechanical systems, making things move, and applying fundamental physics to the real world to perform tasks. So that was sort of that part of that degree, and that was studied from when I was quite young, I think. Space engineering, I came to realise was, quite an important thing, particularly as we progress into the modern age. We're beginning to do more things out in space. We're going to need to rely on a lot of systems that are based out of there. So I thought, I'd really like to be part of that sort of next technological push, which is obviously the push into space. And then physics was something that I came to love during high school. And it was sort of a snap decision. I decided quite last minute that I really enjoy this. I like understanding the fundamental forces of nature. And it complements mechanical engineering quite well, having that sort of broad understanding initially. And as a result, that's how I settled into what I'm doing now. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, cool. So similar to you, I've loved space since I was a kid. I remember in year 4 we had to do a presentation. We were studying the space race and we had to pick a year out of a hat. And I picked out 1969, which was the year of the moon landing.
Yep.
Yeah, so the year they landed on the moon, and I got to give a presentation on the moon landing, which was obviously a pretty ideal year to pick, and ever since I've kind of fallen in love with space. And so I'm from Canberra originally. I went to high school in Canberra, and in year 11 and 12 I had the opportunity to study astrophysics at ANU. So for a love of space, I did that and I loved it, but I realized quite quickly that I preferred kind of the design side and the engineering, whereas astrophysics is very theoretical. It's very scientific. So I decided to do space engineering. I guess that's where I fell into into how I fell into that degree. And I combined it with maths because I think I was talking to my brother who kind of does similar things. He chopped and changed between maths and aero engineering at university, and he's a couple of years older than me, and I was kind of like, well, maybe I'll just do both to save the chopping and changing. So I decided to do both, and the maths really complements the engineering. And I think when you have a grasp of the underlying mathematical principles of engineering, then you're bound to understand engineering in a much more theoretical sense. So that's what I've enjoyed, and that's, how I came to study my degree.
Yeah. Just to sort of echo that, I suppose mathematics is the language of engineering, right? We like to express things in mathematical ways and solve hard equations. So yeah, awesome.
And I think the next difference, which is quite obvious between Jack and I sitting here, is that I am a female and Jack's male. And I guess that's quite a significant difference when it comes to engineering. But the good news is that the University of Sydney has double the national average of women studying engineering with us, which I've been very grateful for. I think it has made me feel really supported throughout studying engineering at USyd. Being surrounded with more females, it's always going to make for a nicer environment for myself. Except regardless of that fact, the faculty itself is quite close-knit. What have you found? How have you gotten involved socially and made friends in engineering and that kind of thing, Jack?
Yeah, good question. And sort of jumping off that as well, one of the great things about our faculty is that it's so diverse. So we have, double the national average of women in engineering, which is fantastic. But we also encompass people from right across the world as well. So we have this really good, I suppose, intersection of all the different sort of cultures. And that's awesome, being able to study alongside people from China, India, South America. That's fantastic to be able to make friends with them. I've really sort of grasped the opportunities in the social sense. So I was the president of the Mechanical Undergraduate Society last year. And as part of that, I was working to sort of provide opportunities in industry, academia, and also socially to students in mechanical engineering, running activities, liaising quite closely with the faculty. And that was a fantastic experience to be able to lead in that regard and help people make friends and develop connections and also further themselves in their engineering career path as well. And I think that is one of the fantastic things about our faculty, is that it's so close-knit and very active in terms of the social regard as well. There's never a dull moment, which is awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've been involved in a couple of societies myself. So I think in first year, I got involved in SUI, which is our Sydney University Women in Engineering Society. And like I said, it was a really good opportunity to kind of know I wasn't alone and I was supported. I made lots of friends with women in engineering, or indeed men who supported women in engineering. Anyone can join that society, and had the opportunity to network and connect with women in engineering and senior engineering roles, which was really cool, a really good networking opportunity, and yeah, great for a first year engineering student to see that, I think. And then as well as that, Elle talked a bit about rocketry earlier on, so I won't spend too much time on that, but I've also been involved in the Australian Youth Aerospace Association, and I was part of the committee that put on what is called Aerospace Futures. So it's a conference, happens about the middle of the year each year, and it brings hundreds of people from across Australia to one city, wherever it may be held that year, and it brings industry leaders too. So all industry leaders in space. We had some really big names from really big companies around Australia come in, which was an awesome opportunity. I think it's, yeah, like obviously anyone trying to find a grad job, their dream to be at that conference, and also really nice to meet like students from across Australia. I think that was a really cool opportunity. I did that last year and yeah, loved it.
Yeah,
great
definitely.
way to meet people and make connections. So,
fantastic.
Yeah. And I think talking about kind of learning outside the classroom, the obvious next step there is kind of how we get work experience. And obviously it's a big thing on every university student's mind. So how about you, Jack? How have you kind of gained work experience throughout your degree?
Yeah, so as part of my scholarship, I was lucky enough to take a placement with a company. and be supervised by a number of engineers there. And as part of that, I was actually seconded to Queensland for 3 weeks last year, which was awesome to be able to live away from home and experience that sort of different working lifestyle early on in my degree. Since then, I've sort of realised that research is
technology.
Engineering. Research is one of the things I'm quite passionate about, and I'd really like to go after my degree and pursue some form of a research career. So I've had the opportunity to undertake several research projects with the Australian Centre for Field Robotics, based down in engineering, on light field cameras, 3D hyperspectral cameras, and most recently on vision and sensing on the lunar surface, which is combining sort of my space engineering skills as well. Yeah.
So cool.
What about you?
Very cool. So I've kind of had an opportunity to do a bit of research too. So over the past winter, I was actually not with the mechanical engineering faculty at all, but I was with biomedical engineering faculty, which was different and new and very cool. But we were looking at using soft robotics to help kids with cerebral palsy learn the sit to stand movement. So I kind of explain it to people as imagine putting balloons between the joints of little kids and helping them to sit to stand. And that was a really cool opportunity, kind of a different application of the engineering which I've had studied for the past 2.5 years. So that was a really cool opportunity. And then as well as that, I think I have gained a bit of work experience, not directly from the university. It wasn't organised by the university, but definitely earlier Emma was talking about the professional engagement program and the PEP engineering program. And that taught me to kind of recognise what skills I had and how I could apply them to kind of go for different internships. And so last summer I spent 6 weeks working at Lockheed Martin, which is a multi-billion-dollar kind of global aerospace defence company, and I'll be going back there this summer for another 8 weeks. So super cool opportunity, and one that has definitely fallen from the encouragement of the university to kind of recognise where my strengths lie and how to best apply myself to work experience, which was cool.
I think one of the most important things out of what you've just said is that you're not just locked into what you study in engineering. There are lots of areas of engineering that are quite interdisciplinary. So you can take your skills and apply them to quite varied and different areas. So biomedical engineering, those sorts of things.
Yeah, for sure. And I think after we talk about work experience, I guess every university student kind of has their mind on grad jobs and that kind of thing. And it's a common question we get in space engineering because obviously kind of when you think space, you think of America and NASA and SpaceX and maybe Europe. And that's completely understandable, although we did open the Australian Space Agency last year. So there is jobs on the horizon. What are you thinking about, Jack, after uni?
Yeah, so like I said, I think research is something I sort of want to focus on for a couple of years after I graduate. And I'd really like to work in sort of a research and development role where I can take those research skills to an organisation and make positive change, develop new technologies, new systems, those sorts of things. I'm quite passionate about that, and particularly I'd love to do that in the aerospace, space and defence sector in Australia, which is growing. As you mentioned, the Australian Space Agency is doing some fantastic things and cultivating quite a really good space industry in the next few years. So I'd like to be part of that push.
Yeah, very cool.
What about yourself?
As for me, I don't have much of an idea at all, to be honest. I think I love engineering and I'm loving what I'm studying, but I've got an extra 2 years and like I said, maths kind of opens up a world of opportunity. So I'm still working it out, but it's a good part of university, working out what you do and don't like. And now we're about to wrap up, so I have one last question for Jack. What's your favourite memory, favourite thing about studying engineering at USyd?
My favourite thing about studying engineering, I think, is all the people I've met. You get to work with some fantastic academics at the forefront of new technologies and applying them to the real world to make real difference on people. And knowing that what you're doing is going to have an impact on someone else, I think is quite fantastic. It really puts it in perspective. Yeah. What about you? What's your favourite part?
I think my favourite thing about studying Eng at USyd is just how practical all of it is. At no point did I feel like I was learning from a textbook in a classroom. I've kind of always had practical experience to back up my theoretical learning. So at week 3 of my university education, they chucked me in a workshop with a pair of steel cap boots and were like, go learn to use the tools. And then in second year, we built an engine. I've done projects in Cambodia and Vietnam, and it's always about applying our knowledge, which I think is so important, especially for engineering degrees.
For sure.
Well, I think that's all we have time for today, so thank you very much, Jack.
Thanks for having me.
And next up, I would like to introduce Tamsin, who's joining us from Sydney Future Students. She'll be talking about pathway options into Sydney, so stay tuned for that.
Hi everyone, my name's Tam Richards. I'm a member of the Sydney Future Students team here at the University of Sydney. Today I'm going to take you through some admission schemes and admission pathways to your dream course at the University of Sydney. So perhaps you have applied for one of our schemes and you're wondering what that means for you, or maybe you're wondering if any schemes are still open for application, or perhaps even you have not got the ATAR that you wanted for your dream course here at the University of Sydney. Whatever your circumstances, we hope that we'll be able to find an option for you. So what are admission schemes and admission pathways? So admission schemes consider your commitments, achievements and circumstances in addition to your academic results to maximise your opportunity to be made an offer to study with us. And pathways are an alternative way to access your dream course or career. We have a range of different schemes here at the University of Sydney that cover a range of different circumstances, commitments and academic achievements. I'm going to take you through them one by one. Some have closed for application already, some are still open and you're able to apply. First of all, I'll take you through some of our schemes that have closed, and perhaps you've applied for some of these schemes and you're wondering what that means for you. So our E12 early offer scheme is for domestic high school students in New South Wales who've been assessed by the University Educational Access Scheme as attending a New South Wales rural or regional school, experiencing E12 financial hardship, or residing in an area identified by the Australian Bureau of Statistics as being in the lowest 25% of socioeconomic disadvantage in Australia. If you hold an E12 conditional offer, you must meet all of the offer conditions and place your E12 course as your highest UAC preference by 11:59 on the 19th of December to receive an unconditional E12 offer to the course that you've applied for and an E12 scholarship offer. Importantly, you must accept your E12 scholarship offer within 7 days. The Elite Athletes and Performers scheme and the Future Leaders scheme have also currently closed, but if you have applied for those schemes, this is what this means for you. So the Future Leaders scheme is for nominated school captains and DUX students who have completed high school in an Australian high school. The scheme offers admission to select courses with an ATAR requirement lower than the published guaranteed ATAR in recognition of your leadership and academic achievements. Likewise, the Elite Athletes and Performers scheme is for applicants who have been performing at an elite level, and adjustment factors will be applied to successful candidates for eligible courses. In order to be made an offer through either of these schemes, you just need to make sure you meet any additional admission requirements and place your preferred Future Leaders or Elite Athletes and Performers scheme course as your highest eligible UAC preference. If you have experienced circumstances beyond your control that have impacted your studies in Year 11 and 12, you can apply for UAC's Educational Access Scheme and may be eligible for entry to a course within 10 ATAR points below the published ATAR. A whole range of circumstances are considered, from disrupted schooling, school environment, refugee status, financial hardship. We strongly encourage that you look at the UAC Educational Access Scheme website to see if any of the circumstances you have experienced during 11 and 12 are included in this scheme. Some of you may have applied for this scheme already, others you can still apply for this scheme. If you would like to have your application acknowledged for the Broadway scheme, you simply need to place your preferred course as your highest eligible UAC preference on the close of preferences on the 19th of December. Our Academic Excellence Scheme recognises and rewards excellence in English and Maths by applying adjustment factors to boost your selection rank for eligible courses. You could receive an adjustment for up to 5 points added to your ATAR to raise your selection rank for an eligible course. The adjustment depends on your performance in either English or mathematics and what course you apply for. It's an automatic process, so you don't need to make a separate application. You simply need to be a domestic school leaver applying for an undergraduate course in 2021 and achieve a Band 5 or 6 equivalent in high-level English or maths. Our Gadigal program is available for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students. It's an admission scheme as well as ongoing academic and personal support. If you've already applied for Gadigal, you need to place your preferred course as your highest UAC preference. However, applications are still open. If you don't meet the ATAR requirement for your dream course, you could consider enrolling in a course where you do meet the entry requirement with a view to transfer. You must complete 1 year or equivalent of full-time study to apply to transfer. The more popular the course, the more difficult it is to get into. You can use our online ATAR course to find courses where you meet the eligibility. Graduate entry is available in a wide range of course areas, including medicine, media studies, pharmacy, allied health, nursing, commerce, dentistry, teaching, law, and veterinary science. Graduate entry is when you complete an undergraduate degree and then undertake a professional degree in a postgraduate course to meet a professional accreditation. For example, you can study law in a couple of different ways here at the University of Sydney. You can get into our undergraduate program by achieving an ATAR of 99.95, or you can enter into another undergraduate course and apply to transfer after a full year of study. Alternatively, you can complete a full bachelor degree in another course area and then apply for our postgraduate Juris Doctor. Both pathways will lead you to a profession in law. This is also available for many of our health courses. You can start an undergraduate degree in a discipline of your choice or a course where you've met the entry requirements and then apply for a postgraduate degree in one of our graduate courses. This is available for many of our health courses, including physiotherapy, occupational therapy, exercise physiology, and diagnostic radiography. And finally, entry to our medicine and dentistry courses at the University of Sydney are very common to access via our graduate route. You can undertake an undergraduate degree in a discipline of your choice, then undertake the GAMSAT, pass an interview, and then start the Doctor of Medicine to complete your qualification. Both pathways take 7 years to complete. I hope that this presentation has helped you to find a pathway to your dream course at the University of Sydney. I wish you all the best in your future studies, and we hope to see you here at the University of Sydney next year.
Thanks, Tamsin, for providing all of that information on pathways. Also, how inspiring was the engineering faculty? I don't know about you guys at home, but I think it's so amazing to hear from students who are so passionate about engineering and STEM. Now we have Thomas here to have a little bit of a chat about E12 and Gadigal entry pathways into the University of Sydney. Hey Thomas.
Hey Dasha, and hello to everybody joining us from home on Info Day TV, and congratulations on completing Year 12.
Thomas, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the pathway into university and what you're studying as well?
Of course. So as Dasha mentioned, my name is Thomas. I completed my HSC in 2017, and I'm now a current student at the University of Sydney, studying a Bachelor of Science and a Doctor of Medicine. So when I was going through high school, I wasn't too sure what I wanted to study, but I knew that I was really interested in science and health and those related ideas. So I would come to events like these and talk to other students and staff and get a bit of an idea what would be best for me. And I decided that would be medicine because it would tie all of my interests in a practical way, as well as didn't close my doors to further opportunities after university. I actually gained entry to the university myself through the Gadigal Program, which allowed me to enter my course with an adjusted ATAR requirement.
Cool. Well, I do have a few questions for the viewers that we have at home. They're currently high school students, maybe looking at the E12 and Gadigal programs. Firstly, what are the conditions of offer for the early conditional offer Gadigal scheme?
Yeah, so that's a really great question, and it's something that's particularly relevant for today. So to receive an unconditional offer for the Gadigal early offer program, students must first complete their HSC and receive an ATAR or equivalent that is met in their early offer letter. So once they have completed those two things, they need to ensure that the subject that they have chosen for their early offer is ranked at their highest eligible UAC preference by midnight tonight.
Okay, and that sounds really similar to the E12 conditions, right?
Yeah, so that's correct. So for E12, it's very similar. As long as you meet the E12 eligibility and additional criteria, you need to make sure that you also meet the minimum ATAR requirement as stated on your early offer letter. And then once you have achieved those, you need to make sure that the course that is outlined on your early offer letter is also your highest UAC preference by midnight.
Okay, cool. And how will students know who are watching us from home whether they've been successful in either the Gadigal or E12 scheme?
Yeah, so both of these schemes will be published on your UAC portal. For the Gadigal program, they will be released on the 23rd of December, and for E12, that will be on the 24th of December.
Okay, so guys, remember to check the portals next week on UAC. And Thomas, what if they didn't meet the E12 ATAR?
Yep, so if students didn't meet the ATAR, that's completely fine. There are a lot of ways around that. Unfortunately, that lower minimum ATAR requirement for E12 can only be applied to that course that is stated on your early offer letter. However, if you change your preferences and you didn't meet that ATAR requirement, we do encourage people to explore other options. So one thing you can do is use our online ATAR tool, and that will allow you to identify some courses that you are eligible for with the ATAR that you have achieved. And what a lot of students do is study one of these degrees for a full year at a full-time study load, and that allows students to apply for a transfer into their dream course. I will state, however, that a transfer isn't guaranteed. Some of them are pretty competitive, and some courses don't even offer it at all. However, in saying that, a lot of students do achieve their dream degree by doing it this way. Other students who have a particular profession in mind, they should look at our graduate entry options. So for example, a student will complete their undergraduate degree and then apply for a postgraduate course, for example, law as well as medicine and health, and that will give them the professional accreditation in that field once they graduate.
That's some really great advice. So remember that there's always a pathway to your dream profession. It might just take a little bit more investigation. And lastly, who can the students contact if they have any questions about E12 or Gadigal?
Of course. So if you have any questions about your E12 offer or eligibility, please contact us on admission.pathways@sydney.edu.au. And for the Gadigal program, please email us at indigenous.recruitment@sydney.edu.au.
Thank you so much, Thomas, for joining me today and answering some of our questions on E12 and Gadigal.
Yeah, no problem at all. I'm happy to help, and I hope that it was useful for you watching at home.
Yeah, awesome. Well, now we've got a little bit of a segment on a course that's quite interesting and new. We've got a Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Advanced Studies combined course that some of you might have heard of. This was part of the University of Sydney's reimagined undergraduate curriculum that commenced back in 2018. The degree provides you with amazing opportunities, for example, greater choice in your degree, the opportunity to gain essential skills that will make you a career-ready graduate with 2 degrees at the end of 4 years of study. So here's what our academics have to say about the degree.
As part of Sydney's reimagined undergraduate experience, the Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Advanced Studies combined degree is your opportunity to have greater choice, gain essential new skills, and be a career-ready graduate with 2 degrees after just 4 years of study. The course gives you the flexibility to choose your own pathway, but if you wish to specialise in an area, it offers tailored streams in international and global studies, languages, media and communications, and politics and international relations. We also offer majors and minors in more than 45 different subject areas, from archaeology to economics and film studies to sociology. You will have a new level of access to a second field of study, making it easier to combine your interests and passions. Want to major in American studies and a major in music? Or majors in both digital cultures and computer science? It's now easier than ever. You'll also engage with our exciting new interdisciplinary open learning environment units and undertake real-world projects that help bridge the gap between theory and practice. And in your 4th year, you can either undertake advanced coursework and project work in your design field or pursue a research pathway. With more choice, a global perspective, and greater graduate outcomes, studying arts and social sciences at Sydney is better than ever.
So should I start by introducing myself? Okay. So hi and welcome. My name's Associate Professor Stephen Whelan from School of Economics. I'm Deputy Head of School here at Economics, and welcome to Open Day today. So I just wanted to actually talk to you by answering a few questions I commonly get on days like today. The first one is, why do I study economics, or why should I study economics? And sort of the answer to that is, it might surprise you in some sense. Students, when they think about economics, they often think about things like unemployment or interest rates. And it turns out that that's important from an economist's point of view. But economics is so much more than that. Some of my colleagues look at things like decision making by adolescents or teenagers. They look at things like whether or not banning the use of plastic bags is a good policy. And the key thing about economics is it can tell us or provide insights into all of those things. It's so much more, if you like, than interest rates or unemployment. The key thing about studying economics is that what it does is gives you a set of skills that you can use to take to many, many different problems. Things like understanding how workplace culture actually influences organisations or institutions' performance. Perhaps more than anything, what understanding and studying economics does is make you eminently employable by giving you a set of skills that you can take out that employers value highly. The second question I often get asked at days like today is why study economics at the University of Sydney? Well, I've sort of given you part of the answer to that. And that's because myself and my colleagues are passionate about what we do. We're passionate about the research that we undertake, not just about unemployment, interest rates and inflation, but about all those issues or questions which perplex governments and organisations. Perhaps more importantly, myself and my colleagues are passionately committed to teaching. Economics has been at the University of Sydney for decades, centuries, well over a century. Recently we moved to a new building, the Arts and Social Sciences building, and what that does, or what that gives us, is a state-of-the-art facility where you can learn in experimental labs, econometrics labs, which provide you with up-to-date, contemporary learning spaces. There's other aspects of the degree here at Sydney which, sort of, if you like, stand out compared to other universities. One is a dedicated honours year. So from year 2 onwards, what we have at the University of Sydney in the Bachelor of Economics is a dedicated honours stream where students who are passionate and committed to economics can engage with myself and my colleagues in a set of courses which really push you and develop your skills at a particularly high level and provide an opportunity for you to do some research in your 4th year. The graduates from that honours program have gone on to lead organisations in the public and private sector, including the Reserve Bank of Australia, and you likewise could join them. There's other aspects about the degree at the University of Sydney, the Bachelor of Economics, which are particularly appealing. We have a very structured degree, so provide a strong foundation in macroeconomics and microeconomics, econometrics in the first 2 years, and then have a wide range of electives which allow you to develop your interests and pursue your passion in 3rd year. That set of electives is unparalleled across Australian universities. So the other question I often get on days like today is, should I study economics or should I study commerce? And I'll be honest, I don't know the answer to that question. And I often say to students that from my own perspective, I actually studied a Bachelor of Commerce. Fortunately, I majored in economics. What I'd really encourage you all to do is, when you come to the University of Sydney, to pursue your passion. Now, I would hope that's in economics, and even if your first choice is not a Bachelor of Economics, you'll have the opportunity to study economics by virtue of a new curriculum where you have a huge range of majors, a great set of majors in a shared pool, which allow you to combine your studies in economics with other disciplines. So within FAS alone, there's over 40 majors that you can choose from, and across the university, there's literally hundreds of study areas, disciplines and majors that you can combine with economics. Whether or not you've made the decision to study economics or not, what I'd really encourage you to do is 2 things. As I've said, to pursue your passion. When you come to the University of Sydney, you'll have unparalleled opportunities to do so. I'd also encourage you to come and speak to myself and my colleagues and talk to us about your choices and the opportunities which are available to you here at the University of Sydney, and in particular at the School of Economics. In 2021, I'd love to be able to welcome you to the School of Economics and the University of Sydney and take you on a journey to help you develop as a student, as a person, and hopefully as an economist. So hopefully we will see each other in person sometime next year. In the meantime, good luck and thanks for your time today.
Welcome back. We're coming to the end of our schedule, but before we dive into the last faculty, please don't forget to get those last minute questions into the Q&A chat box below, and a staff member will be able to answer them. If your family, friends, brothers or sisters weren't able to watch live with us today, we'll also have an on-demand recording of this, the InfoDay TV, on our InfoDay TV website. For our last segment now, we've got the Sydney Conservatorium of Music, also known as the CON. We know that studying music can open up a plethora of opportunities as a graduate career, including performing in orchestras, teaching in schools, performing in rock bands, and also composing film scores. So if you're considering studying music, but you're unsure about which specific degree to choose and what careers that degree might lead to, then stay tuned.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Great to see you all. My name is Professor Matthew Heinsohn, and I'm the Deputy Dean and the Deputy Head of School here at the Conservatorium of Music. It's great that you're all joining us today. This, as you can see, this session is called Which Music Degree is Right for Me? So let's get on with the presentation. If I go to the next slide, the Sydney Conservatorium, it's such a wonderful place to work and it's such a wonderful place to study music. Why? Well, we are ranked the #1 music school in the Asia Pacific. And in fact, you can see there we're ranked 15th in the world for performing arts. That was done in a study this year. We are one of Australia's oldest music schools, as you can see there. And we've been going, for 15 years now? No, more than 15 years, sorry, 105 years. Obviously, I'm doing music, not maths. I got that wrong. And look where we're located. You can see we're located right here, right near the Opera House, in the centre of Sydney. So it's really a fantastic place to study. And we're part of the University of Sydney, of course, and that's wonderful because not only is the Conservatorium a fantastic place to study in itself, but also we're part of one of Australia's great universities. So if you do a degree from the Sydney Conservatorium of Music, you're getting a degree from the University of Sydney. We've got here 5 great reasons to study at the Con. Well, facilities. The facilities at the Conservatorium building are really fantastic. We have, I think, 5 concert halls. There's so many studios. There's so many practice rooms. It really is. And if you've never been to the building and you're able to come one day, just walk around, and it's really an awe-inspiring building right from the moment you walk in there. I think that the quality of the teachers you get is also something that really makes the Conservatorium a special place. The staff are all actively involved in the industry at large. They're all part of the music industry. They're all out there doing things. So you're not just learning about the theory of things, but you're actually learning from people who are out there doing it. And I think that's so important when if you're choosing to study music. And you want to be studying with people who are right there doing things that are current trends. We've got a really extensive program of different degrees and different areas you can study in music, as you'll hear pretty soon in a future slide. And we also, as we put there, have good industry links. And this means that if you're studying music, you get the opportunity to link in with not just what's happening within the building, but with things happening outside the building. Now, that'll change depending on the area of music you're interested in studying. So say, for example, you're a contemporary musician, You'll be learning from and getting links with, for example, recording studios and record labels. In fact, one of our, I think she's in second year now, one of our second year students signed with Universal Music and has had singles released through them. I mean, that's a wonderful opportunity for her, and that's just one example of these sort of industry links which we can provide for our students because we are such a renowned and really interested institution in our students' learning. And of course, the location, we're based in Sydney, which is, of course, a hub for musical activity in Australia. So, and we're right there in the middle of Sydney as well. You know what? They put 5 things here on the slides, which are 5 great reasons. I reckon there's an even better reason. And that is because when you study at the Sydney Conservatorium, you're really studying with some of the best young musicians out there. The people that you study with when you're studying at the Conservatorium, if you go into the music industry, are the people you're going to be working with for the rest of your life. You want to make sure that you're studying with people who are as good as you or better than you, and you'll find that at a place like the Conservatorium. It's that chance to network. It's that chance to meet and work with other people from a whole range of musical disciplines, but all of whom are working at the highest level. And that's really so exciting. I'm so excited when I see student projects and these sort of networking interactions between students. It's really such a wonderful part of studying a music degree at the Sydney Conservatorium of Music. About how to get into the Conservatorium, particularly in the undergraduate areas. Well, a minimum ATAR to get into a music degree is 70. And there are some programs, for example, if you're experiencing disadvantage, you can apply for some bonus points there, which might help you get above 70. For every degree in the university, in the Conservatorium, part of the University of Sydney, you have to do either an audition or an interview. You have to do that. So it's really important that you are aware of that, and there's a link there. By the way, we're going to, all people that are attending today, all of our guests today, we're going to send you this pack. So for those of you at home, if it's too much information to take in, we're going to send you these details so you can do it. You can look at it later. So the important thing, again, to remember is that you don't just apply through UAC. You also have to do an audition or an interview as well. That's really important because sometimes you get people who really want to study here and they just think, I'll just put a UAC application, but then they don't get an offer. And it's like, well, why didn't you do the audition? So you have to do an audition to get in. And here are the dates here. I'll just move myself around so you can see it. The audition dates are there. And in fact, for those of you who are finishing your HSC or have finished your HSC already and are still interested in applying to come to the Conservatorium next year in 2021, that's still possible. There's still some audition rounds. So check out the university website. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in contact. Studying music and learning about music, and I'm the Deputy Dean, but I'm still learning about music every single day. And it's such a joy, and it's such an amazing part of life to be part of. So that email, again, is con.apply@sydney.edu.au.
how amazing was it to see our very own students in their musical element. If you want to see any more performances like that, keep an eye out on the Sydney Conservatorium website for any of their live or online performances. But for now, that's a wrap. You've come to the end of the show. So we know that preference is for you at close tonight at midnight, but if you do have any more questions, please feel free to phone 1-800-SID-UNI, which is 1-800-793-864, or feel free to email prospective.students@sydney.edu.au. But other than that, thank you so much for joining me today and for sticking around. I really hope that you've gained some useful information that might make your preference choice tonight a little bit easier, but we do wish you all the best in whatever pathway you choose. Have a great day, and I hope to see you on campus next year.
Here is not one place or feeling. It's not history, not the future. It always feels like the start, like it's your turn here today.
It's a constant, are you ready? That's the feeling here. In every building here, so many people have taken the same steps. And maybe they have felt the same as you feel now, or have thought the same thing.
It's a sense of everyone is welcome here. Everyone is understood in any language. That's what makes us, us. What will I do here? Who will I meet here? I always wonder what goes on here, what research is being worked on, or who will change something, completely turn everything on its head.
It's about thinking, playing, learning, laughing, questioning everything, always smiling. You make so many friends here. For me, I love telling people stories that have happened, when we're just hanging out or going somewhere.
I'm very proud of being here. Everyone feels like that. Look around. There might be someone here right now discovering that one thing.
This is Sydney. It's an outside place. You can't help it. The outdoors, nature, it just drags you out to it.
You have to have that conversation with yourself. Ask what's possible. Sit back and dream. Do you want to work hard? What do you want to achieve? And then you're off.
This is it. Here is the University of Sydney. What do you want here to be?